Okay. 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. Gonna. I apologize. That keeps popping up. That should not keep popping up. All right. I'm lowering my mic just a little bit, and we're gonna get started. Why does this keep popping up? Lonzo Ball has officially returned, and I have to say, he looks a lot better than I thought he would. Honestly, I mean, remember it's been close to 3 years since he's been playing, and it honestly looked like he just looked like himself out there. I was very, very impressed. So welcome in, everybody. Glad to see y'all are here. We're gonna be going over this game, and we're gonna be a lot better in terms of copyright compared to our last post-game stream. If you're not aware, I'm sure some of you have seen the VOD, so whether you're watching the VOD now or watching this live, if you did watch the previous VOD, there's been some copyright issues. Unfortunately, the NBA bot did get me. So we're gonna be a little bit better tonight about doing our film breakdown stuff. I'm not gonna have it full screen. I think that's a good way to start. What again? Preseason is our finals. It is our finals. Yes, we won our most important game. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So I'm just honestly, I was just happy that we didn't see overtime in preseason, because that was just one of the worst things in the world. But glad to see it. Bulls look pretty good in this game. Obviously, then the third and fourth quarters weren't great, but I'm not too worried about that, honestly. But yeah, the Bulls look really good. I'm happy to see it in terms of just shot selection and ball movement, man, because I do think that this has been the best ball movement we've seen in a long time from a Bulls team. So hopefully it continues. Is those somehow looking better than a lot of guys who take the summer off to rest when he missed 2 years? Yeah, honestly, yeah. Lonzo just went out there and just like, yeah, I'm still here. I can still shoot that ball, and I'm still just gonna launch it. So yeah, if there's any sort of question about Lonzo's 3-point shooting ability, that was the one that I was like, I think he's gonna be able to hit threes still. Well, I think that question's been answered. We know that Lonzo Ball can absolutely still drain threes. Still one of the best catch and shoot 3-point shooters in the league. That was always there, and now it looks like that's going to continue, so I'm happy to see it. And then when it comes to his other parts of his game, he impressed me, man. I think Lonzo looked a lot better than what I was just, I guess, expecting. There was a lot of moments today where I was like, wow, he looks like he's moving a lot better laterally on defense. It does seem like he is more willing to do like a more off-ball role on the defensive end instead of him being like the point of attack defender that he once was, which I think is probably a good thing. I think he could probably get his steals and his deflections still in the passing lanes, and just working as a good off-ball defender, just being a smart IQ off-ball defender. So he was doubling guys when he thought it was the right time, and to just kind of disrupt the flow. And that's awesome to see. I'm really happy to see it. I think then, of course, unfortunately, just my brain, how it works is like, well, can you then go out and do it again the next game, right? And I think we're gonna get our answer on Friday to see if he's gonna be playing and can he continue to do that. But in terms of, he hasn't played in 3 years, and he's coming back, and he's still like his defensive IQ is still on full display, and he's willing to like just jump and rotate and double team to guys. That's awesome to see. I'm very, very happy to see it, because that was the part of the game that I'm like, I don't know if he's going to continue doing that. And he did just come back and be like, yeah, I'm still that really good defender that can play multiple kind of defensive positions. He then also saved the ball. Like, oh my god, bro, when Lonzo went and saved that ball, because he got the little tip, and so he got the steal, and then he threw it behind his back. I almost like ran out of my room just to like exhale, because that was scary. I won't lie. When Lonzo went to save that ball, I was scared. I was holding my breath. I felt like my butt was clenched. I'm like, please do not hurt yourself. And the fact that I was just happy that he didn't like land into the guys. Like he didn't like, he wasn't like falling face forward and landing hard into the seats or onto the ground. He was able to catch himself, and the guys caught him. So he was able to stay upright and not have to fall hard from that save. So I'm just so happy he saved the ball, and he saved himself, and he did not get injured on that play. So I'm just I can breathe a sigh of relief. So mission 1 accomplished when it comes to Lonzo. He went out there, he played his up to his minutes restriction. He actually played a lot longer stints than that was planned. It was supposed to be 4-minute stints, but he had a few stints that were a little bit longer, closer to like the 5 minutes, which is good to see. And he looked good. He looked really, really solid. So mission 1 accomplished. You got through today's game without getting hurt. And so let's just see how he does moving forward. I think, like I said before, it's all about just him just getting better, feeling better about himself. I do not really care about his performance. I know his performance was great tonight. But if he does have to take the game off on Friday, that's totally fine. I won't be upset at that. Go get yourself healthy. So I hope everyone enjoyed tonight. I'm at the game right now. Oh my God, Tara, you're at the game. Wow. Hope that was an enjoyable game. You got to witness a special moment. What's going on, MC Season? I almost teared up when Lonzo set foot on the floor. Didn't think it would affect me. I hope he stays healthy. It also looked like he almost didn't miss a beat. I was absolutely surprised. Yeah, man. Fox, it looked good, man. I'm very happy. When he jumped to save the ball, I swear we skipped a beat. Bro, when he jumped to go save that, I was just... I lost my mind. So I did tweet out, like, I'm happy that he went to, like, he feels confident to go save that. Like, he feels comfortable and healthy enough that he's willing to go save that ball and run full force at it. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I wish he was just in bubble wrap. Like, please, like, if I could, I'd put his entire body in bubble wrap and just pray that he, if he does fall, that the bubble wrap saves him. Because I was very, very scared that he was going to go injure himself on that play. And I'm happy that he didn't. So overall, we're looking good. So far, nothing's been reported. Nothing happened. Nothing bad happened with Lonzo, and we got through tonight's game, and he looks good. That's the best scenario tonight, and we are good with that. So yeah, I think we can all, as Bulls fans, even though again, like, forget everything that's happening with the Bulls right now. This tonight was huge. Everything about this tonight for the sports world was huge. This is a historical moment for everybody tonight in the sports world, and it's awesome just for Lonzo to feel like he can go out there and do this again. So I'm so happy. Say over, how you doing? Yeah, good to see you. Right, bro, at least wait like a month. Yeah, man, like, I honestly, if Lonzo never dove to save a ball this entire season, I would not be mad. I would actually tell him, like, hey, try not to go out and put your body on the line just because, hey, this ball's about to go out of bounds. Don't do that, please. If you can actually, like, do it and you're gonna stay upright, great, which he did in that play. But if it's like you have to full out dive, don't do that. Especially when there's other players, or like, because you're diving into the bench, there's a high chance that you're gonna hit something or hit a player wrong, and all I could think about is, oh my God, he's just gonna go break something, but he didn't. So yeah, don't dive, please. It's okay right now. Like, I know everyone's all about hard hustle and muscle in Chicago, and I get it. I mean, Joakim Noah, Dennis Rodman, etc. But with the player that has had his injuries, like, I'm okay if he doesn't dive onto the floor for any sort of balls. Yeah, if he is actually back, his doctor's gonna be rich. I think his doctor right now, because like what Casey Johnson has said, like, it was like a Hail Mary type attempt with Lonzo. I'm very happy for the doctor, but I think more importantly, it's just about, like, sports medicine, right? I think sports medicine is, like, if this is a legitimate thing that can help save people's careers, but not just, like, for the sports world, but, like, people in daily life, right? Like, if people are really having knee pain and, like, they've had multiple ACL tears and or meniscus tears, and, like, they just consistently just have issues with their knee and their cartilage isn't healing right. I mean, this might be something. And yeah, I'm aware that, like, there have been players that have attempted this, but the fact that we now have a player that is out there and doing this for the first time, it's a big moment. And obviously for the doctor, it's huge, but I think for just sports medicine and research, like this is going to be huge. And you know, we've said it many times, but for Lonzo's just career, this is huge. So I'm hoping that this just keeps advancing medicine to the point where more players are actually more comfortable maybe trying this sort of procedure out and seeing how it goes, because that might save them, and it might honestly save people in the daily life too. Like if they're having any issues, then maybe this would help and help them be able to do more strenuous activities with their legs. So Giddy shooting is atrocious tonight. Surprisingly, he even spoke easy layups. Okay. Yeah, now that we've had some Lonzo talk, I think we could all agree that it was an amazing time tonight. We do have to talk about this game. And obviously Lonzo's a part of this game, but we do have to talk about the good and the bad of this game. I think overall in this game, this was mostly good. I don't really have too many things to complain about when it comes to this game. You know, score-wise, the third and fourth quarters were not great. I'm aware that the third and fourth quarters weren't good. I'm not too concerned about it though. I think it's kind of telling when the younger or like the third stringers kind of check in and they may be playing one of like some of like the main guys on an opposing team, but then suddenly the score just kind of like evens up. We saw this with the Bulls against Milwaukee, right? The Bucks were playing their starters, but the Bulls were playing all their bench guys, and yet the Bulls were leading by 9 at halftime. I just think it just in preseason, it's very easy for the players that have something to prove to go out there and play better. So for the starters, I just don't think it's that important. But for preseason, so for the Bulls, for example, like I think there's a lot of guys, even in the Bulls starting lineup, that have a lot to prove. And against the Timberwolves starting lineup, they looked pretty good. But then when the Timberwolves kind of went to their bench, then suddenly they looked a lot better. So it's just preseason basketball how it works. But all things considered, there's a couple of good things. So I'm gonna bring up a tweet from my my profile at halftime, because there was some stats I was just astounded by, and it's just good to see that the Bulls continue their trend throughout the preseason of just launching threes. They got to just continue doing this. I don't know if it's gonna continue come regular season. It should, but right now all things are trending towards the right direction. So at halftime for the Bulls, they had shot 25 threes. For reference, the Bulls had shot 32 threes per game last year on average. Okay, so with them shooting 25 threes is basically almost them shooting an entire game of threes last year. This is a major step. Okay, and so against a Minnesota team whose defense was pretty good last year, and against their main guys, this was good. Now they shot a blistering 56% from three that first half. They made 14 of the 25. That's not ever going to continue. It's great to see it, obviously, but that's not going to be consistent. So just keep that in mind for the big score at halftime. The Bulls had over 70 points. Bulls also had 10 fast break points at halftime, and with 14 turnovers, points off turnovers, excuse me. And that was great. That's all those things check the boxes when it comes to better tempo, when it comes to better shot selection. Everything about it is just really good. Okay. Bulls then had 17 fast break points for the game, so it was a slower second half from the Bulls. They got to do a little bit better, but also a lot of the bench guys came in the fourth quarter, so you know, not too much to really talk about there. So I have to just keep saying it because this Bulls team is small, because with the athleticism of the team and the tempo that they should be playing, they need to be launching threes. This is not a team that can be relying on paint points because they are short. They are a small team out there, so it is important that this Bulls team continues to launch threes. They're going to have to be one of those teams that is going to rely on the three-point shot. That's fine. I hope that people understand that is a completely okay thing to do. Go look at the Boston Celtics and how they just won the championship. They relied on the three heavily. That's how the Bulls should play, honestly. And even that, with that being said, I don't think this Bulls team, like even if they play the best that they ever could, I don't think they're going to be winning games because of the personnel issues. But this is how you set the culture. This is how you build on players' development, is that if they play the correct way, play in the correct tempo, and have them willing and ready to shoot the right analytical shots, then it's just going to help build up their shot profile as they move along in their career. So this is good. This is also exciting too, just to see some of the younger players go out there and willing to run and launch threes with no hesitation. This is a really good step in the right direction, and it has to continue throughout the rest of the season. It just can't just be the first, 4 preseason games where like, yeah, we're launching threes these 4 games, and then we're back to our old ways. This has to continue, even if it's gonna be a, you're facing a team that's against like, I don't know, like I always think of old Memphis, but they don't exist anymore. But if it's like a slower team, for example, like the LA Lakers, right? They don't shoot a lot of threes. You still gotta be playing your style. You have to go out there and play this style, even if you are, losing or you're facing a harder team. So I'm hoping that we continue to see it. Yeah, we also had a really terrible lineup when we started falling behind. THT and Smith were legit our best players at one point. Yeah, there was, at some point it was just THT and Smith out there. Obviously with Craig, Carter, and Duarte. But there was also a moment where, Levine and Giddey were still out there with Vooch, and we started to see the turn happen. But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like you saw Dante DiVincenzo, Joe Ingles check in, like other guys that they're out there to prove something, I know that they're more veterans, but we saw just some younger and like guys that may not have a spot in the rotation go out there and start playing hard, right? So yeah. What again? What's going on, Delbert? How you doing? Good to see y'all. Hilo looks like he lost a step on defense. What do you think? Maybe it's because it's preseason. So I do agree with you, Noel, that I think Patrick Williams has lost a step on defense, but I more chalk that up as because he hasn't played since January. I'm not as concerned about that. I was more concerned about his lack of, willing to run in the first 2 preseason games. That seems to not be that much of an issue tonight, and I'm happy to see it. He also looked to score a lot more tonight, which was good. No hesitation on his 3-point shots, which was really good. So I think the defense, like the defensive step will come. It's more so, I think that's more so about like, oh, he hasn't played since January, right? And so he's still unfortunately in the ramp up process, but this was better tonight. Like he had to show this tonight, or else then come against the on Friday. If he didn't perform then on Friday, then we're talking about, in my opinion, a lineup switch, because he just isn't ready to start the year then, right? So this was much better tonight. I think Patrick has made sure he keeps his starting position after tonight to start the year. But yeah, I think if this continues with Patrick, like let's say we're 30 games into the season and he still doesn't seem like he can keep up with someone like Julius Randle defensively, then yeah, I will say that I'm really concerned. But I'm more just like this. That just seems like a game shape issue that he'll get. I'm not as concerned about that. People also getting a solid amount of weight this offseason. So I have heard about this, and I can't officially say anything about it, but I have heard that this is the case. It would make sense if that is the case, because he was probably expecting to play a lot more and he'd want to bulk up a little bit. And there have been moments with Patrick where he does face bigger players and he just seems to be overpowered. So he does kind of have to find that good balance of how much should I bulk up, and then how much should I and then what's too much to where I slow down too much, right? If he can find that balance, then we're fine. But I don't know, we'll see. The only concern that I do have if this weight gain is true, his leaping ability already off of 1 foot was already questionable. So hopefully that isn't going to get any worse. We've talked about this on my channel before, that he just doesn't seem to have explosion off 1 foot. He can jump really well with 2 if he launches off 2 feet. That doesn't seem to be an issue. But if it's 1 foot, it does seem to be a problem. So hopefully the weight gain didn't hurt him any more than it already has. So yeah, I mean, last year I think people had a slow start and missing time didn't help. Yeah. Patrick did have a slow start last year as well. We were talking about this. It feels like deja vu with Patrick Williams, where he really did not have that good of a start to the season, especially preseason basketball. He looked really rough. And then, I think by game 5 of the regular season, like we were like, okay, he looks like himself again. The problem is though, is that this year is the year where if P-Will goes back to his kind of par line of what we know, it's not good enough, right? We need to see more from Patrick Williams. That does not mean I need to see 18 points per game, but he can't average 10 this year, right? You can't average 10 and only shoot 3.5 threes per game on 40%. That's like there have been coaches now consistently saying it. Like, I don't care if you shoot 42% from 3. If you only take like 3 threes a game, that's not good enough. I'd much rather you shoot 37% from 3-point range and shoot 8 threes a game, because that is actually more effective for the game. So for Patrick, like this is it. Like you can't come back and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay at my par line of 10 points and 4 rebounds and shoot 40% from 3 on 3.5 threes per game. That cannot happen this year. If that happens this year, then we have problems. Okay, but this was a good step in the right direction tonight. So hopefully we're moving towards a better Patrick Williams for the rest of the year, and we're not so concerned about the contract, because I think everybody's already freaking out about the contract, and it makes sense. I don't blame all the people that are freaking out right now. I want to say thank you to all the likes. Thank you for liking the stream. It helps me out a ton. Appreciate you guys. Let's see here. So let's talk about a few things in the box score, because unfortunately we do need to kind of get into some of things. And I'm talking about more negative. Overall positive though, I just want everyone to just look at the 3-point attempts from everybody. It looks pretty balanced across the board, right? 5 from Zach, 4 from P. Will, 7. Kobe was just launching them tonight, by the way, which is awesome to watch. Kobe might just be the designated shooter on this team, which is great. And what I mean by that is that he might just be looking to shoot more threes than layups this year, which is or like more threes than any other shot this year, which is great. I'd be happy to see that from Kobe White. Lonzo took 4. He made his first 2. Looked really good with it. Horton Tucker took 5, and Horton Tucker has proven to me that he is a better shooter than I thought he actually was. So major props to Taylor Horton Tucker, who I think is on his way to making this team. If he doesn't make the team, I'd be very shocked at this point. So there's just a lot of positives, and it's because of the good shot selection. You play better. You're not shooting analytically bad shots, right? You're shooting analytically good shots, and hence then Kobe White only has 9 field goal attempts, and he has 23 points. That's why we talk about field goal attempts, or like analytically taking better shots is huge, because you can only take a certain amount of shots and still score a bunch of points, right? So this is good stuff overall, just as box score from pretty much top to bottom. Unfortunately for the Bulls, they were missing a lot of players tonight that I wanted to see. I wanted to see Julian Phillips. I wanted to see Montes Buzelis, and we were also missing Dalen Terry tonight. So it just, there are some guys that I was missing tonight, especially Phillips, and also Ayo was out tonight. But this is good. This is a really good step in the right direction. And even with certain guys coming in and out of the lineup, like Ball is obviously here today, the 3-point attempts haven't gone down, and that's good. So it seems like everyone's bought into the 3-point attempts, and that just has to continue, and I think we're good. Now, there's some negatives, unfortunately, and the big one right here is this guy, who is the guy that Caruso was traded for. All right, so Box has told his thoughts that Giddey's shooting is atrocious. Surprisingly, he even missed some layups tonight. Before I give my take, I want you guys to give your take. You guys tell me what you thought of Josh Giddey tonight. And I want you guys to be part of this conversation, like almost lead this conversation on this stream tonight, because I want to hear what other people have to say. Because I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to hear what you guys have to say mostly, because this was not great. I won't lie. This is not a good sign tonight. And I don't want to jump to anything that might seem too far in terms of conclusions, but I'm gonna have to start saying some things if this is what we're gonna be seeing from Josh Giddey from here on out, because I have a lot to say. Let's see here. Sorry, okay. You didn't think he played that bad, to be honest. So what part do you think he didn't play that bad? Like, what was the good part then from Josh Giddey? I want to hear this, because this is what I wanted you guys to kind of say is, what was the good? What was the good from Josh tonight? So I can easily give you a good. Giddey seems to really find the guys, no matter like if they're cutting hard or if it's swing, and then he drives and then it opens up someone. He's finding guys. Like, it's the only thing about this thing though that of like, oh, Giddey's finding everybody is, we know you can do this. Like, that's not my issue. He pushed the pace. He did push the pace a pretty decent bit, but I will say that there were some moments tonight that wasn't too great. Josh Giddey defensively is a cone. You are right about that. He did have 3 blocks though tonight. But yeah. So let me go out on some things. Finishing could be a lot better. Okay, so you definitely see it, Tay, of like what the problem is tonight. This was bad overall, in my opinion, from Giddey. And we're gonna look at a few plays tonight that, at least in my opinion, he got some assists tonight, which again, he's gonna find guys easily. Like if a guy's open, he's gonna give him the ball. I have no doubt in my mind about that. But that's not what I care about, right? Like when I talk about Josh Giddey and like what I need Josh Giddey to really become, it's he needs to be the guy that can seriously bend the defense, you know, make the defense rotate and open up and create shots for others, right? That's what I need Josh Giddey to do. You know, there are a lot of good passers in this league. Go ask Draymond Green if like he can pass to guys that are cutting hard to the basket. Like he can absolutely do it. And you know, go ask a lot of other guys. I think that if a guy's open and cutting hard to the basket, there are a lot of guys in this league that can go and give him that ball. I think there's a lot of guys also that can find guys in transition pretty well. Now, I will say that I think that Giddey and Ball are two of the best guys in transition for a reason. But, you know, still, though, there's guys that can obviously go out and do that. If Giddey is going to seriously separate himself from being like, oh, I'm just like an okay starter and I have good passing ability, to being like an actual playmaker on this roster, he needs to seriously find something, man. His finishing tonight is unacceptable. And it starts there. I've said it, if Giddey can find a three-point shot, then I'm not concerned, really, because I think the three-point shot takes away a lot of his flaws that are on display. But right now, he's not finishing, and he ain't shooting that three ball consistently. Like, I know the last game he hit 3 threes, but I don't care, because we get this performance tonight, and I feel like every three he takes is not going in. Giddey's read on the defense, it seems like he's reading the defense like really nicely, but then he just can't go up and finish, which is the reason why I've consistently said, if Josh Giddey is going to be the engine to this car, if he is going to be this foundational piece that AK believes in moving forward, he cannot just be a passer. He, like this whole theory of like pass first point guard of like, oh, we could have a pass first point guard average 10 assists and only 10 points, then can run an offense. Like, that's dead. Okay, we've figured out like the Rajon Rondos of the world are hard to kind of use in today's game because they can't shoot the three ball, and it's just not efficient to just give them the basketball. Like, yeah, they can go out and get 10 assists every single night, but if they're also not putting up 20 points, why would we give them the ball? They're only held responsible for the points that they created, and they're not giving any points themselves as a player to the team. So this is the problem with Giddey. And I am very concerned because he keeps talking about how he's ramping up and how he hasn't played since the last Olympic game, and that's all fine. But this is the same issues that we've seen all throughout Giddey's entire career, which is you miss shots at the rim and you can't make threes. So yes, 9 assists are awesome. I'm happy that he's a great passer. I just know that he can do that. I don't know if he can score. That's the whole point of this season, is can you go out and score consistently? And we're not getting it. So all I'm gonna say is that with the way that the Bulls are playing right now, like with how like the 3-point heavy and like we're playing it fast in transition, like I don't know if Giddey's like completely necessary for everything that we've been talking about is good, right? I want him to be part of the equation, but to me right now, I think this Bulls team can go out and still put up 45 threes, but Giddey is not like a part of this conversation. The one thing that I do think that Giddey can always impact is the play in transition, but he has to go out there and seriously have his imprint on the half court, where it just seems like that's not coming right now. And that's my biggest concern. So that's my rant. Let me read you guys. The team did play very better with Lonzo and had better spacing, and passing was better with Lonzo. I don't know if I'd say passing was better with Lonzo, but I think that the spacing was better with Lonzo out there. So we'll see. We'll see about that. I think his shooting will improve for next year, not because I believe in him, but rather Peter Patter, or so you're talking about Peter Pat, not Patterson. Well, I hope so. I really hope that he's gonna go work with Peter Patton and really work out his shot. Because if he has the 3-point shot, the finishing will get better just because guys are running after him at the 3-point line. So that's the reason why I've always said like if he gets to 3, the flaws go away. But he needs to get that 3-point shot down, or he has to start finishing at the rim. So what we saw tonight just is inexcusable. I know Gobert's there, but there are times where it just looked like Gobert's just like, yeah, shoot it, I dare you. That's why it's a problem right now. I agree with he has to be better. He just straight up has to. He moves too fast sometimes. Like Lonzo, he moves at the right pace. But here's the issue with that. I've talked about this with Giddey. For him to get past his defender, or for him to actually get dribble penetration, he has to play fast. Like it's just all he has. He doesn't have great athleticism. He doesn't have a quick first step. It's all about just getting downhill. That's what Giddey has to do to get into the paint. He has to play downhill. So if you're telling me like, oh, you think he's playing too fast and that's leading to maybe some bad decisions, well, then he needs to find a way to get dribble penetration and get past his defender without using his speed, because that's the only way right now he's getting into the paint consistently, which is his speed. So you're starting to see the limitations, right? We're starting to see the problems with Giddey, and why we're someone like me has been pretty concerned about him, and some Bulls fans have really been concerned. I've been more neutral with Giddey. There are some Bulls fans that are like on the other end of the spectrum, and then there's the other Bulls fans that say that this was the best trade ever. But this is making me lean towards the I'm really concerned side moving forward. Yeah, I only see him as a passer, which is why I hate people calling him Lonzo replacement. Well, here's the thing though. I think Lonzo is more so just a passer than a playmaker too. So I can understand where they got that idea of like Lonzo replacement, but we know that what's the difference with Lonzo, right? Lonzo is one of the best 3-point shooters in the league when healthy. Giddey isn't that. So yeah, he to me, these two guys do not play the same. They are very different in terms of how they play. In terms of what their strengths are in the game. One actually plays defense, so the other doesn't. One of them actually can hit the 3-point shot, the other doesn't. And they're both good at finding guys that run off ball and find guys for open shots, but neither of them really do score inside consistently, which yeah, I'm not that's not shocking. But I do think Giddey is a little bit better with the basketball in his hands in terms of like being able to get into the paint consistently. But Lonzo to me is just, he uses his passing ability to really get guys and like push tempo. So they just play different. I think one's more of a wing, and then the other, and Giddey is, I don't know what he is. He's a forward that is trying to be a point guard that doesn't shoot the 3 ball. I'm not scared because I knew he was like this. If Giddey could finish at the rim and shoot the 3 ball, he would legit be Halliburton. I think his finishing can develop. I hope so, man. But I think the problem that, the reason why I'm more like, I'm more hoping his 3-point shot develops is because his lack of athleticism. While Halliburton is, Halliburton's shot's funky and he does move at his own pace. Halliburton's, he's pretty decent in terms of athleticism. That's the reason why I'm more so like, I need to see Giddey really hit the 3-point shot, because while Giddey is 6'8", I don't think he will ever be a good finisher at the moment. That's my big concern. So maybe you're right, Viper Strike. Maybe he does end up being a really good finisher and finds a way to get like legitimately stronger and find ways to get through shot blockers. But if I had to make a bet on what would be his better option, it would probably be the shooting. But that's just at least the way I look at it. So yeah, there's a lot. Oh, I'm so sorry. If you hear one of my SSDs, my external SSDs, it keeps popping in and out, and I don't know why. So if you hear that, I apologize. I think he needs to be really good. I just think he needs to be good enough to threaten the defense. You're right. You're right about that. Yeah. He does need to be good enough to threaten the defense, and I'm telling you right now, he's not. The defense is like, yeah, shoot it. I don't care where you are. Like, we dare you to shoot it. Yeah, that's problematic. So I'm hoping Viper Strike. I'm hoping that you're right, because right now it's looking bad. All right, I'm pulling up the game here. Any last thoughts before we get into some of the film? And I'm gonna be much more careful with my film stuff today, because I was unfortunately busted with copyright strikes on my last stream. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. He's currently not good enough and should not be in a team that's trying to win, but this team should be trying to develop. Yeah, this is the right team. You're right. This is the right team for him to develop these skills, right? Especially with all the shooting right now that seems to be around him, or at least the willingness to shoot. I do question if the Bulls are going to shoot well. I think people are forgetting the Cavs game did happen, the first preseason game for the Bulls, where the Bulls couldn't hit a three, and the defense looked atrocious. So some Bulls fans are saying, "Oh my God, we look a lot better than we actually thought they were going to be." But I'm still saying, like, we need to go watch the Cavs game again, which is on Friday, because I think that if the Cavs are actually playing their main guys on Friday, I think we're gonna see again that this Bulls team's not that good. I don't want people to start talking about, like, oh my God, we're better than people are projecting. I'm like, I don't think so. Yeah, this is the right time for Giddey to really start developing. He is only 22. I do have to keep reminding myself that. But it's just that you're now year 4 into the league, and you seem to still not be able to hit a simple 6-footer. So yeah. How's the People Talk, Duncan? People Talk today was pretty solid. It was overall good. In my opinion, he has kept his spot in the starting lineup for now, with this sort of performance. But Noel also in chat did bring up that he does look a step slow on defense, which I do agree. But I think with Patrick Williams, it's just more so about, like, the being a step slow on defense is more about his game shape, and he hasn't played since January of this year. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think that'll come better later down the road. Bland also kind of tanked today. He did. Oh my God. Anthony Edwards was playing ridiculously weird today. It took 23 shots and just kept shooting threes, and it was just like, what is he doing? Yeah, you're right, Viper Strike. I don't know what the hell Anthony Edwards was doing tonight. That was the weirdest game from Anthony Edwards I've ever seen. He was just like, I'm gonna get my threes tonight, and no one can stop me. And he also just didn't do anything else. Like, he was picking up fouls, like, that were bad fouls, and then he wasn't really giving the ball up either. So it's just weird. Didn't check the stats. Rebounds sent more because he wasn't the guy on the ball trying to block shots often. I honestly just think the rebounds was just more effort. He just looks better. He looked a lot quicker tonight, in my opinion, in terms of open floor space and reacting. So that's good. Defensively, he just looked slow. Like, when he was guarding Randall, he didn't look too good. But I'm not as concerned about that at the moment. The biggest thing for me, Rob, was just that he was shooting shots just with more aggressiveness. He took 2 mid-range shots back to back that, well, I'm not happy with the mid-range in general, but I was just happy he was looking to score. And if he could just continue doing that and run harder in transition, which he did today, then, we're good. It's also the way the ball bounces off the rim. Yeah, there were a lot of long rebounds tonight, because if you think the Bulls took a lot of threes of 41, the Timberwolves took 52. So there are a lot of long rebounds, and he was able to get them. The last thing about Giddey, every year his shot seems to be slowly getting better. Don't know if that will continue, but I don't have a reason to not believe it won't. So I will say, like, if we're going off of, like, what Lonzo and his career trajectory was, like, yeah, I think maybe we can kind of convince ourselves, but I don't know, man. Giddey's shot looks kind of slow to me sometimes, and it's more so when he does catch and shoot for some reason. But I just haven't seen any sort of, like, incremental improvement where I'm like, yeah, I feel good about this. And I think it's more so just because he started in a low spot. Like, he started with 26%. So why do I guess that's just, like, knowing that you started this low, now I'm like, I gotta hope that you make this serious jump. Like, I think everyone can improve, but how far can you actually improve? And now knowing that you're in your 4th year, like, yeah, I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. Dutch heart all 4 games. Is it? Oh, I honestly, Rob. Okay, first up, Rob, I apologize. I forgot about that. Rob, do you have Twitter? Unfortunately, I can't. You can't send links in here. But if you have Twitter, that would. If you can find Patrick Williams' shot chart somewhere for preseason, then send it to me on Twitter. I'll pull it up. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I wanna break down a few things. And because we were talking about Patrick Williams a lot, we're gonna start with Patrick Williams, and hopefully, I'm gonna just pray that this isn't gonna get copyright striked. I'm really annoyed, by the way. So if you guys aren't aware, the last stream, it was a pretty long one. And this was the Bulls against the Bucks. So a lot of the main Bulls players weren't even playing. But unfortunately, for some reason, the NBA bot for copyright, it just suddenly just decided to strike that one. I showed more film in the Bulls versus Grizzlies game than I did for the Bulls versus Bucks game, and yet for some reason that stream, the Bulls versus Bucks post game stream was fine, but yet the Bulls versus Grizzlies, the Bulls versus Grizzlies stream was fine, but the Bulls versus Bucks stream was bad. The NBA copyright bot got me for like a bunch of things, and so I had to trim out like almost 35 minutes of stuff from the stream, which was really annoying. So we're gonna do things a little bit more safely tonight, and I'm not gonna like have the video up full screen like I did in the previous streams. So it's gonna be more like a YouTube video where I do break down the film on YouTube, but it's obviously not full screen YouTube, right? So we're gonna try this, and I'm just gonna immediately do this because it seemed to, even if it's like I'm not even doing anything, like if the video's not even playing but it's just up there, like it's paused, it was still like, yeah, we got you, and that makes me very upset. So hopefully this doesn't happen tonight. So we're gonna make this a nice small box, unfortunately, and we're gonna go like this. As you can see here, it's like it's a YouTube video. Okay. So also I'm gonna make sure that there's stuff like in the background, so I'm not only showing the film from tonight. So this is what we're gonna be doing tonight to make sure that I don't get another copyright strike, because that would be a very terrible thing if that does happen. So let me show you a play right off the bat, or we're gonna go immediately to the 3rd quarter, and we're gonna talk about 2 plays, okay? Because this to me was like, this was some good, but then we also have to talk about the elephants in the room, which have been pretty frustrating when it comes to some of these players. So right off the bat, we're gonna go to a Patrick Williams good play, if I can find it. Sorry, hold on. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's see. Sorry, I'm checking my OBS just to make sure it looks good. Yeah, we're looking good. So when it comes to this play, we're starting out with this play for a reason, because this play was a very shocking but also frustrating play to me, and you'll see why. And I think a lot of you know what's coming here. So first things first is that I have seen the Bulls suddenly run a different like kind of set that's suddenly just become popular. We're seeing a lot where Zach kind of goes down early into the paint, and we're seeing Vooch stay up here. Now, Giddey kind of can use these players kind of the way that he wants to. Like, he'll kind of like call out things. And we're seeing that sometimes Giddey, let's say if Giddey kept the ball, he will go this way and like have a pick and roll with Vooch, and then Zach is going to come up here and flare. But in this sort of possession here, we see that Zach decides to come up. He's going to be basically setting a back screen for Giddey, or a rip screen, and we're giving Vooch the ball, right? So we're starting off with like a very different sort of style from the Bulls this year, and we're automatically getting good player movement between these three players, right? So there's the rip screen, and now Zach's gonna probably come up, and if I'm remembering correctly, and get this ball from Vooch, if I'm not mistaken. So he does. Now, pick and roll between these two players. So we've seen this before a lot. Now it's up to the weak side players to kind of move around properly. And in my opinion, Giddy does a good job as he sees Zach coming this way. He was over here. Giddy has to move this way. Okay. Again, just a set just to keep in mind. Now, Zach finds Giddy for a potential little floater shot over Conley and use his size, right? But Giddy gives it up for Patrick Williams. And what happens after Patrick Williams catches this? He does not even flinch. He just goes right to the basket and dunks it over Rudy Gobert. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, so why can't we get this every single game from Patrick Williams? Like, this was fantastic. No catch and think, right? He didn't think about the shot. He just caught it, made a quick decision, and launched right to the basket and dunked over Rudy Gobert. Why can't we get this all the time? Like, this is the Patrick Williams I personally want to see consistently. But yet, for some reason, this won't happen consistently. It's good to see this overall, though. I think the Timberwolves defense was kind of messed up on this play. It seemed like guys were not really playing too hard on this possession, but this is good. Now, here's the thing, though, for you guys. For all the people that talk about the 9 assists that Josh Giddey did get in this game, right? Let's talk about this. So this is the start of the possession, right? So Giddey's not the one bending the defense, right? If anything, if you're going to make an argument of who bent the defense in this possession, it's Zach, right? Zach comes up, uses the screen, and he's the one that draws Gobert and Conley to come up and help on this, right? So Gobert has to take up Edwards and move over, and Zach's basically drawn 2, okay? So LaVine bent the defense. He then passed it to Giddey, who then made another good pass, but this isn't playmaking, right? This is the reason why I'm saying when it comes to Giddey, like, yeah, his 9 assists are great. I think he can find players of the best of them, but this is one of his assists tonight. Would you say that this is good playmaking from Josh Giddey? Personally, no. I don't think this was good playmaking. I think this is just, good pass, and Patrick Williams did the rest. But let's be real, the only reason why the defense was in rotation is because Zach LaVine was the one that drove and drew 2. So this is the only reason why when I do bring up when it comes to Giddey, like, if he wants to be the guy that is the reason why the defense bends and he finds his open players, this play right here is not an example of it. This is not an example of him being a good playmaker. This is a good example of him just finding doing a good pass and his teammates taking care of the rest. This is more Draymond Green type assist than it is Chris Paul or Jokic type assist or Luka Doncic type assist, right? So yeah, nice assist, but this isn't really much of playmaking at all, right? And I think that there are unfortunately just a lot of these that were like this tonight for Giddey. So something just to keep in mind. What's going on, Patrick? Good win, couldn't watch because still don't have an antenna to watch, so frustrating. Oh man, Patrick. Okay. Patrick. Patrick, do you know when you're gonna get your antenna? If you're still here, actually. I hope you're still here. I apologize I didn't see your messages. What are your expectations and hopes for this year? Because I'm hoping you win 15 games, get a top 4 pick. I'm with you, Patrick. I hope we lose a ton of games. Hasn't ordered up? Oh, wait, haven't ordered one yet. Oh, okay. Okay, Patrick, message me on Twitter or just text me. I might have something for you before you get your antenna. I'll wait for you to watch the game, I should say. I appreciate you being here, by the way. Thank you for checking in. Yeah. Just message me. I might. Again, I can't guarantee anything, but I might have a way. So I'll help you out. If you want, we're gonna do some film breakdown now. I did kind of go over the game just in general, but we're gonna do some film breakdown now for this game. Thanks. Yeah, I got you, man. Yeah. So this is Patrick Williams dunk, which again, I'm happy that Patrick Williams just absolutely slammed this one home. This is great to see. He looks like I've said it that I think P-Will looks like he's moving a lot better tonight. This to me gives me a little bit more hope of like, okay, he hasn't, the weight isn't really hurting him too hard, and he's still able to move like a versatile forward. My only complaint is just like, why can't we see this every night from Patrick Williams? Like this should be an every night occurrence because he has the skills, he has the athleticism. I do think that we do have to question maybe his overall like, I guess, power off of one leg, but like still though, even if you don't have the best bounce off of 1 foot, like you should still be able to find ways to get these sort of buckets. Maybe not an absolute slam over one of the best shot blockers in the league, but you should be able to find ways to get these sort of plays. Like it's not like you're going against Rudy Gobert every single night. And knowing Patrick, he should at this point be able to, in year 5, be able to, take a 3-point shot and drive hard to the basket, right? I mean, I think that's something that we would hope a starting level caliber player that got paid like a starter should be able to do. So yeah, just pointing that out because we are a little bit upset right now with how P-Will has kind of overall looked, but this is better tonight. So better things. Now, let me go to Josh Giddey because this is something that I was not happy with. Okay. What's going on, Delbert? This play here is a epitome, in my opinion, of like Giddey's got to be better. Like straight up. So pass. So first off, I think the Bulls messed up their spacing here. I think even Zach recognized it. This is not a set play. Do not get used to this. Zach is going to move over to this corner on this very specific play, as you can see right here. Now it's pick and roll between Vooch and Giddey, which we've seen a decent chunk of already. And Giddey doesn't use the screen. And now it's all about, okay, Giddey, can you actually be a threat so that you pull in Gobert, right? So you're gonna pull in Gobert and make him commit, and then you can pass it off to Vooch, or you're gonna go up and score this if Gobert doesn't commit to you, right? And Gobert doesn't commit to you. You even let Mike Conley get in front of you, and you're facing a 6'3" guard in Mike Conley, and you're 6'8" with big size. You don't make the shot. Like, this is why I'm concerned with Giddey. This is why I'm frustrated with Giddey. This is why I have very little faith right now that he's gonna become a very good playmaker, because as you can see right here, the defense is basically just like, yeah, we dare you to score. Like, go ahead, Giddey. We want you to see if you can actually go and score, because right now, if you're looking at it, right, Giddey right here is probably looking to pass. Like, that's what Giddey's trying to do. He's probably looking like, okay, is Vooch open? Can I get Vooch the ball? And then if McDaniels commits, then can I get Kobe the ball? Well, the defense is kind of just like, no, we're not going to let you pass. We're going to kind of stay on our guys. Now we dare you to go up and beat Mike Conley one-on-one. And this is what we get, right? So it's just so frustrating just to see this. And you're like, so this is the guy that we're supposed to be trusting moving forward? I don't know if he needs to just get rid of this little floater shot. It seems to kind of be his little go-to, is this little floater shot. But he needs to find something so that he is like a consistent threat to finish at the basket, or at least a consistent threat to finish in the paint. What I understand the thought process of a floater, because he is 6'8", and so if there is a shot blocker around, he can still get the shot off pretty easily. He doesn't have to float it up pretty high. But I would much rather just see him try to figure out some sort of, like, get the defender off balance or use his size more instead of just using his immediate size. Like, actually try to overpower the guy, but that's maybe not his game. So I don't know. He needs to find some sort of different layup package or shot package in the paint. Josh Giddey missing too many bunnies. Thanks for pointing this out. I mean, I think if you watch the game, like I think anybody can say, like, yeah, he missed too many bunnies, but like this to me, the reason why I break this play down is because it's a good example of why I'm concerned with Giddey. It's not just like, oh, he missed a layup. Like, I can show you some plays where Zach missed a layup tonight, right? Levine's one of the better finishers at guard, and he missed a layup tonight. But this to me is an example of why Giddey is gonna have trouble with this moving forward for his playmaking if he can't make the shot, right? You need to be a good scorer to be a good playmaker. You just have to in today's world. And if you can't make this, and as good as Mike Conley is defensively, I mean, he's older now and he's much smaller. Like, you got to make the shot. It's about, the reason why I show you is like, it's not like, oh, Gobert contested it, he missed the shot. No, this is just straight up Josh Giddey missing a shot. And it's just inexcusable at this point. Yeah, he was like really bad tonight with finishing. I think it was mostly an off night because he missed some real easy ones. I'm hoping so, man, because if this is the consistent thing, because the problem is when you tell me like, oh, it's an off night, I tell people like, no, this isn't like unusual for Josh. Like, this is the consistent thing with Josh. This is the problem with Giddey. If you look at his stats, like, he's never been a good finisher. That's the reason why I'm like, it might not be an off night. You know, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know if we could just be like, oh, off night. Like, no, I think this is a legitimate concern to have moving forward. Be interested to see his stats against Minnesota because I feel like his historically crap against Gobert. I mean, if you're historically crap against Gobert, like, well, why are others okay against Gobert? Like, sure, I'm aware Rudy Gobert is one of the best shot blockers in the league, but the best of the best still find ways to score on Gobert. So if you're telling me like, well, he can't score against a shot blocker, then I'm like, why are we giving this guy the keys to the engine? You know, that's like, I hope people understand that, because like a lot of people are telling me like, no, we think Giddey's gonna be an all-star. I'm like, okay, so you can't just start making excuses like, oh, this or that. And so I'm not trying to pick on you, Jordan, or anything. I'm just saying, like, that's just kind of how things have been, you know? He needs a post game. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think Giddey in the post might actually work. I just don't know if he's willing to do it, you know? It doesn't seem like that's like part of his game overall. Like, I've seen some like elbow action with Giddey from OKC when I watched the film where they kind of slot him in the elbow to be a passer, but he never really has looked to score in the post. And I think it would be a decent option if he's posted up against a smaller guard, and get some dribble penetration without having to do the work, right? But yeah, I don't know, man. If he's not able to finish at the rim with just in general with layups, then I don't know why would I trust him in the post? But yeah, there's a reason why he was dropped out of OKC's rotations. Unfortunately, he's an offensive liability outside of passing. That's what I'm just hoping he doesn't become. I want you guys to understand, like, I'm critical of Giddey, but I'm hoping he becomes a good player. Like, I really do. I just have doubts. I just have serious doubts right now. And I see some new faces, so I just want to make this clear. In my opinion, a lot of Bulls fans were on both ends of the spectrum. It was, I hate this trade. I can't believe I don't like Giddey's playstyle and his game. And then there's the fans that were like, oh, this is awesome. We just traded a role player for a future all-star. I was more in the middle. I was like, just kind of dead set. Like, I don't like the trade, so you can lean me towards the other side. But I didn't think it was like all doom and gloom. But you know, so far through preseason, I know that he's had his injury and he hasn't had much time to play since the last Olympic game. But it doesn't look good, man. And I don't really see anything that's like telling me that, oh, he's improved from last year. But he's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot more, so his stats are gonna go up. So yeah, unless he needs to improve his jump shot. That's basically it. I've watched him, and his normal layups attempt at least normally go in. I think his floater is sometimes off. His floater, unfortunately, is not very good in general. It's not like, at least in preseason so far. Here, you know what? I'm actually gonna go look at the stats, but I know in preseason so far he has been horrible with the floater. He's shooting pretty awfully from the field. Let me look. Okay. After this, I want to go to Lonzo Ball. I know like tonight's all about Lonzo and everything, but I did want to just do this first because I think a lot of people were already talking about it. To kind of start. Sorry, hold on. No. Splits. Shooting. There we go. That's what I was trying to get to. Okay, so this is the stats for Josh Giddey in preseason so far. On layups, he is shooting 36% from the field. So, not great. bank shots, he's shooting 40%. So little float shot. So floating bank shot is 2 for 3. Floating jump shot is 1 for 5. Driving layup shot is 1 for 4. Driving finger roll layup shot is 2 for 3. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is decent. So I guess driving float bank shot is better than I thought it was. But I guess I don't know what I don't fully know what's counted though. Like, what was that last shot? A little driving floater bank shot? I don't really know. Yeah. But then if you're wondering about jump shots, he's shooting a nice 14% from the field on just typical jump shots. On pull-up shots, so he's shooting 2 for 2 from three-point range, which is the weird thing. Running layup shots, he's 0 for 2. So 1 for 1 on running jump shot and 1 for 1 on running finger roll. So, it's just mid, unfortunately, for the start of this year. Delaware, be careful with the fentanyl. Please be good. Agree. I think he goes to the floater too much because he doesn't drive all the way to the rim when there's a shot blocker, which is my concern too. Which is like, if you don't have the athleticism or the ability to just finish at the rim, then I don't know what I'm gonna be thinking about you moving forward. You know. Getting missed the layup on the fast break that killed me. Oh my, yeah. So okay, if we're gonna talk about a fluke layup miss, that to me was the fluke layup miss. Like, I'm not concerned more about that one that much. He needs to finish that one, obviously, but like that one's not as concerning. I'm talking about the layups tonight that are just like, he's point blank in the half court and the defense is basically dying or like daring him to go ahead and try to make the shot and he just doesn't make it. You know, those are the ones that I'm concerned about. Like I don't have faith, but maybe he proves me wrong. Now, Jordan, you're right. I think if he gets a jump shot, all this goes away. Like, I think if he gets the jump shot, then we're looking at, yeah, like he'll make more shots inside because defenders are running out to him. I don't have much faith right now when it comes to that. So Viper Strike might be honestly right that it might not be this year for Giddey. If there is ever a year for him to improve his shot, it's probably next year because he'll have a year under Peter Patton from this year. But it's just the thing is, it's unfortunate timing, right? Because this is a prove it year for Giddey. If you're wondering right now, the Bulls do have to make a decision before the 21st of October. They have to decide if they're going to give Josh Giddey a rookie contract extension. I personally don't think they will. I've explained it in pregame that there's no reason to, in my opinion. But for Giddey, this is also a prove it year, right? You got to go out there and actually prove, like, yeah, I'm worth this money. And right now, you know, from just these preseason games, I think if you're the Bulls, you're like, yeah, we're good. Well, we're just gonna wait and have him play restricted free agency and see how it goes. Yeah, I don't know. He had a good shooting coach at OKC though. You're right. You're definitely right. Yeah. So, yeah, doesn't make me good. It doesn't make me feel good, man. I feel worse and worse as the days go on. And the thing is also is that with Peter Patton, for the Bulls, there is nothing that like has shown like, oh yeah, he's like is like really improved everybody's shooting. I think we're just more so going off of what Julian Phillips has looked like so far in preseason, and last year with Kobe and Io was a big step forward in my opinion. So we'll see what he does this year, right? I guess he improved his 3-point shot each year though. So yeah, you brought up the same thing with Viper Strike did. Like, yeah, like each year Josh Giddey's 3-point shot has technically gone up each year, right? His percentage. But my concern is, and this is where I always tell people, I'm like, I think everyone can improve like your 3-point shot. Like, I think you can improve it. I really do. My only concern is that you started so low, right? Like, if you're gonna tell me that someone started with like a 34% 3-point percentage, right? And hey, I need you to increase this to 37 or 38. I'm like, I believe it. I think you can do it. The problem with me though is just that Giddey started with 26%, and so yeah, he's taking this jump up to 32% and 33%. But like, can he go higher? Like, is that a thing? Because that's already a major improvement, which sounds great. But like, I don't know. Has he already hit a ceiling in terms of being a better shooter? So when you just start with that low baseline, you know, it's harder, in my opinion, to get up there. So I'm hoping that this is not like the ceiling for Giddey shooting. I'm hoping that this is just the beginning, and we're gonna see him like, you know, maybe sophomore season was his baseline, and so we can maybe get him up to 36%. But if this is his ceiling, then this is him, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't think it's a sure thing he'll get better, and I am worried in the grand scheme of things, but I just think he is worth the gamble. That's a fair point. That's a fair point of view. Yeah, if you think it's worth the gamble, sure. I personally don't think it was worth Caruso, but, you know, I'll tell you. Alright, so that was a few plays I wanted to just show you kind of at the beginning of the third quarter. It was kind of cool to see. Now, let's go to some of the fun stuff, because I think everyone wants to just rewatch Lonzo Ball go and play basketball. So, excuse me. So, let's go ahead and we're gonna just kind of, you know what? Hold on. I'm so sorry. I should not be doing what I just did right there, guys, is part of the reason why I got copyrighted. I do not need to continue doing this, where I just kind of skim through while the video's on screen, because that actually got copyrighted. The last one, so I need to not go do that. Okay, so we're gonna look at the first play for Ball, where he did come in and hit a 3-point shot. So this is really awesome to see. So Lonzo actually did initiate a lot more than I thought he would tonight, so major props to him. He looked pretty comfortable initiating. Still though, maybe not full out defense by the Timberwolves, but he looked really good with the ball coming up the court. So he started with the plays, sorry. And so we're gonna back it up. We're gonna keep backing this up and pausing it just to make sure that I don't get copyrighted. So here's a play again where we're gonna see Zach go down early. So similar set that I talked about at the beginning of the third quarter when Patrick Williams got the dunk. It's a very similar set. You're gonna see Zach go down early, and then you're gonna see Vucevic come up and set a screen. So instead of it being Giddey obviously with the ball, you're gonna see Lonzo with the ball. And then he rejects the screen, right? And passes off to Kobe. Now, this is where Lonzo's shooting is going to be so valuable, because he's just going to stay here, right? Not stay here. He's going to come from here, and he's just going to move, okay? And this is the good part with when it comes to Lonzo. So I'm happy with how the Bulls have kind of run this action, because as Lonzo went from here and is moving here, right, you're going to see Patrick Williams move up. So the spacing just continues to be good. This is better spacing from the Bulls than the past 3 seasons. Obviously, you had DeRozan, so the spacing was just going to be worse with that. But the guys, it's not just the shooting out there, it's just the guys are moving right. And so you're seeing overall just a lot better spacing. And because of this, where you see that they kind of crunched in the defense, you see like sets a little screen here, and Vooch is able to go ahead and find Lonzo open in the corner off of this, and he goes ahead and knocks this down. It's just all about just the slight little movements, right? If you're able to find ways to get the off-ball defense to have to really focus in on what they're doing, or you get them distracted enough to the point where you can make a back cut, or they don't know exactly who they're guarding, you're doing a good job. And the Bulls have just done a much better job of this so far in the preseason, and it's good just to see the guys like, yeah, we're gonna launch the 3 right when we get it. So this was a great moment to watch, by the way. If you haven't seen it, so I know Patrick, you didn't see it, but like this was such a fantastic moment to watch. See Lonzo just immediately get the ball in the corner and not hesitate at all, and just go ahead and shoot that catch and shoot 3 and make it. That was an amazing moment just to see. And I'm very happy for him, man. This is awesome. Yeah, it's just 3 games and no softball movement is way better. It honestly is. It's all about understanding, like, oh, okay, if the ball goes this way, then I do this, right? Again, it does help that you don't really, the one non-shooter, I guess right now you could say, is like Vooch in a sense, but he is playing the center spot. The other one is Giddey, right? But like, for example, in this lineup though, you have Zach, Kobe, Lonzo, and Patrick Williams all out there. You have two 40% 3-point shooters in Williams and Lonzo, and then you have Levine and White, who are 38% 3-point shooters on higher value, right? The spacing is just inherently just going to be better, right? But you can see that guys are just moving a little bit differently, and making sure that the spacing's just, you know, you're understanding, like, if I take this space, then this player's got to go here. and I'm happy. This is better. And if you instill this, like, right, if you instill this early for younger guys, like, they're just going to continue to get better at it moving forward. So for like the rookies and like the younger guys like Phillips and etc., like, this is good to see, because I feel like they've also bought in on how this has worked out. So that was Lonzo's first attempted shot since coming back, and then he went and just drained it, and he looked really good. This is really good from Ball. Seemed to just be right in rhythm and not worried whatsoever about his knee. So that was good to see. Now here we're gonna watch Ball also take another 3-point shot, and just, you know, we're just paying attention to just how he looks. This to me, the biggest thing is that he looked like himself. He looked like he's just, you know, nothing was out of rhythm. He looked pretty confident in everything. All right, so here we go. So this is the Lonzo Ball. This is Lonzo's next shot that he's gonna make. So we see him, he brings it up, and so here's action that the Bulls have been running consistently throughout preseason still. So center gets the ball, and then we have immediate just down screen, guy comes up, right? And now this guy doesn't always get the ball, right? We see all kinds of different actions from all of this, and it's conditioning for the defense, because you have a lot of options. Because I've talked about this, like a very similar set where if this was Zach LaVine and someone's sending a screen here, he can go back door, he can come up and go back in, right? There's a lot of things you can do with this sort of action, and so we're seeing this, and then Craig doesn't get the ball, but instead it goes to Giddey. And now with Giddey having the ball here, we then run the pick and roll with Josh Giddey, right? So again, it's all about just movement. The biggest thing also with this action is that you're occupying this defender. So Nickeil Alexander-Walker this entire time has just been stuck on Torrey Craig, because Torrey Craig went from here and now has moved all the way to here and has dragged this defender along with him. That's always good. Like, all these little things matter in spacing, because there is 5 guys on the floor. I think if there are 4 guys on the floor, spacing is a lot easier in the NBA. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed or thought about that. It's like, if you have 4 guys out there on the floor, the spacing is like tremendously easier. But with 5 guys, you gotta move, right? So pick and roll here, and so this entire time, again, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is being occupied by Torrey Craig just moving, okay? And because of this, then he's not necessarily in a place to help. So who has to kind of help on this, Josh Giddey, or help a little bit, is Anthony Edwards. And because Anthony Edwards decides, hey, I moved a little too far in, Giddey decides, all right, Lonzo, you take this, and you go up and he shoots it, right? Now, I just want to point this out one more time and bring up this play one more time and just kind of go a little bit deeper into what they did here. So keep an eye on Craig, right? He's still moving. And now all of us probably looked at the ball going to Lonzo and just watched Lonzo try to go up and shoot this, right? Which we all should. But keep an eye on what Craig did here and what Talen Horton-Tucker does here. So as Craig recognizes, okay, Giddey has the ball and I need to now clear out of the paint here, he's going to go to the corner, and Talen Horton-Tucker is going to come up and set the screen here. So it's just, again, another action, because now suddenly, remember, the ball started on this side. This was the weak side. The action then moved the ball over here. So now this is the weak side, right? So it's all just about weak side movement to make sure that the defenders are always occupied. And you see here, look, right? And maybe this isn't even a screen, but it's more so, this might even just be a cut by Talen Horton-Tucker, but this alone just helps with the movement. And yes, it also helps you get in position for offensive rebounds. So this is better. This is just, again, it's better to see this from the Bulls. This is much better than what we saw in previous years. William Phillips being a shooter is a real thing. We will actually have some knockout shooters in our team. If Phillips is like a legitimate corner 3-point shooter, then yeah, we're gonna have some like legit shooters. Then, you know, LaVine and Kobe are gonna be launching, and if Lonzo's there, he'll obviously shoot it too. But that is like kind of the question, because while I trust LaVine and Kobe to get theirs, I don't know who else I can trust. Like, can I trust Patrick Williams to shoot enough? Can I trust Phillips to actually make these shots? And if he makes those shots, man, then yeah, I can see a lot of shooting that's going to be good shooting this year. But if these guys don't make their shots, then I don't know. You know, it's a little kind of sideways when it comes to then the bench, where it's like I don't see a lot of shooting on the bench. Io, unfortunately, as much as like I do praise Io DeSumo for his like he did a good job last year, especially in the starting lineup, shooting the ball. And you see here like his 3-point attempts was at about 4, and he shot 40%. In my opinion, he also needs to increase his 3-point attempts. So if he can increase his 3-point attempts and still stick around like 38%, then yeah, that's obviously much better too. But that's a big F, you know. So it's all just about volume and obviously then percentage, but you got to make sure you have the good amount of volume. Corner 3 gonna be very important for sure this year. That first play Zoe back in was perfect setup, and I do think that was more so. I will admit it was more so about bad defense for Minnesota that play for that Zoe 3. But still though, the good news is that the Bulls had the guys in the right spots, right? Having Zoe there in case the defense did mess up, right? Lonzo is a knockdown shooter from the corner right there. So having those guys there is also the more important aspect of it. I do think that he got open because of bad defense, but it's the correct play, you know? So I'm happy to see it. So yeah, there's that play. Now I want to go over a few other things because I had some things written down. Dante wasn't respecting Zoe 3, but then you also saw 2 Timberwolves players go towards Vooch on a drive, which was not necessary. So yeah, I think that again, that just shows like it was just bad defense, but you got to take advantage of bad defense, right? If you're not in the right spots against bad defense, you're not going to take advantage. It's all about, this is all it's about, right? You got to be in the right spots to take advantage. You can't just be, you know, like, oh, bad defense, we got to react now. Like, no, you got to be ready for the bad defense. You got to be ready for when the defense breaks down incorrectly, and knock down the shots. Was it because of mismatch and Dante helped? No, I think Vooch honestly just drove past them, but we'll double check it. Oh, sorry. Again, I can't do this because NBA is gonna dock me. Sorry. Yeah. So, all right, here we'll play on the right side. Oh no, that gets covered by my cam. Sorry. We'll do this again. So yeah, here just watch. So DiVincenzo stayed with ball. It's just Vooch decided, oh, I have Gobert, and Gobert kind of came out to him on roller skates, and so he drove, right? And so you see here, Gobert kind of got spun around, and he missed his first step, right? But the whole point about this though is that look at these two guys. These two guys didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know who was the help defender, and then they both decided to go help on this drive from Vooch, right? So because both these guys went to help, or more so DiVincenzo decided to help, and Patrick Williams kind of stood here, it messed up the defense completely. And so now DiVincenzo gambled and went to help, and now ball's wide open. So honestly, in theory, what should have happened after this is that Randall needs to go out to ball. That's the correct play, because then DiVincenzo could just take Williams, but they didn't have that, and you can even see Randall turned around, but it was too late at that point. He's already so wide open. So, yeah. Well, yeah. The reason why Dante did stay though was because he thought that he was the help defender, right? He didn't think Randall's gonna come over and help. Like he thought I was gonna come help. When in theory, honestly, Randall should have been the help defender in that sort of spot. But still, though, like I said, it's all about like, okay, ball's in the right corner. You saw Williams over here, like it's much better, and more importantly too, you saw like, you know, Zach's on the other corner, so the defense can't come over from the other side either. Like you're stuck there because it's Levine. If you give that up, then it's a wide open 3-2. So yeah, it's just guys understanding where they need to be and, you know, making the right pass, which Vooch did. So yeah, Randall Height, teach Randall Height should have helped. I don't know if I'm reading that sentence correctly, but yeah, Randall should have definitely been the one to go after ball instead and rotate. Yeah. Yep, you're right, Rob. Yeah, it's everything involved. But also here's the other big important part about it, and I know I've reiterated this a million times. It's because the guys are willing to shoot it, right? If you can do all this action, and yeah, some guys will get open, but if the guys aren't willing to shoot it, then it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care if you're a bad 3-point shooter, you gotta shoot this, right? This is all what it's all about. You have to go and be willing to shoot these shots, even if you're not the greatest shooter. So yeah, like it is about all these different movements, but you gotta be willing to shoot it. And that's, to me, where the Bulls have made the most improvement, is they've done all this, which there have been moments even in the last couple of years where they've had some decent action, but they just weren't willing to shoot it. Right now, it just seems like guys are launching. Like, I'm gonna pull up a play here for Kobe where I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe he shot that. I'm happy he took it. But I was just like, wow, I did not expect him to take that shot. And he just absolutely just drained it. I think it was this one, actually. Let me look at it. No, it's not that one. Hold on, give me a sec. Oh no, it was probably this one, actually. Yeah, it was off the it was off the little Vooch handoff thing, or like action. Sorry again. I wish I could show you all this, but I do not want to get copyrighted again. That whole process was so annoying. And honestly, I know I'm right. Like, I have fair use technically, but I don't have the money to, you know, go after the NBA. So we're not gonna go ahead and try to fight the NBA. So here's a play, in my opinion, where it is straight up like we're launching threes. Like, if we're open, we're taking them, and this is great. I love this. So here we go. This is a Kobe White play. So this is an example of how Giddey is able to get downhill. He starts here and he just uses the screen to try to get downhill. And so this is cool. And so again, similar action, right? You have Zach come up. Here's the screen. Kobe's gonna come up here. You do the action, and so now here's the pass off Vooch, and then Kobe's just like, "Yep, we're taking this one," and just launched it. This is awesome. I love this. Like, if the defender is not gonna stick to you, Kobe, which as you can see here, McDaniels did not. Right? McDaniels didn't stick with him. He went under the screen technically and tried to meet Kobe over here on the other side. Well, if you're gonna do that, then Kobe just stays right here and just launches it. If you go under, what does Mark Jackson say? Hand down, man down. Like, if you go under, you're not getting a hand up, right? You're too late at that point. So it's basically you're playing man down. So this is just good. This is really good from Kobe, but also just it's good to see that the team is willing to take these shots, because they weren't taking these shots last year. A lot of last year was make sure that we get DeMar the correct possession, or, you know, make sure we run the shot clock dry. Like, look at this. This shot is about to go in, and there's 16 seconds on the shot clock still. This is awesome. This is how we're supposed to do it. Yeah, this is good. Continue doing this. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this over. We're gonna go over some tweets. Have there been any tweets, guys, that I need to look at? Because I have not paid attention to Twitter since the game has ended. So let me know if there's any tweets that I need to go look at here when it comes to tonight's game. Sorry, I'm checking Casey Johnson's tweets right now. It was really good to see Kobe taking those shots. He looked comfortable being a lights out shooter. Yeah, if Kobe is a designated shooter, I'd be very happy. Like, I think that would be a great role for him. Because I think last year it did put a lot of pressure on him to like be like the playmaker, and also have to like really try to finish hard at the basket. And that, as good as Kobe did do, well, like he was that good last year, I don't know if that's necessarily what we need him always doing. You know, I would much rather have Zach try to go finish than have Kobe try to finish all the time. And I think, especially with if Io's going to continue his good finishing, then, you know, I think we have enough guards to go finish inside. Yeah, if Kobe's just gonna launch it, then oh yeah, that'd be great. He is still a little bit streaky, but I think it will just make the defense respect him no matter what. That's the most important. Sorry, I'm reading Casey Johnson's stuff. Okay, so there's a few things. Well, I'll bring it up here on Twitter, or from Twitter, on stream. Okay, so Billy, Dom, and Lonzo, I thought he moved very, very well. I also have the same conclusion. I thought Lonzo looked really good. In terms of just movement, he looked really good. Sounds like some cuts could be happening tonight. Pretty typical for some to happen with one preseason game left. I also think that might be the case. We'll see what happens here for the Bulls. I will also go over a few things in terms of salary cap tonight. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens if the Bulls actually do decide to cut some guys. I wouldn't be shocked if they do after tonight. Lonzo, I felt a lot better playing than watching. Said his knee felt great and didn't think about it during the game. Awesome. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad that he didn't even have to think about the knee at all tonight, which is good. Lonzo Ball said he's going to play Friday for sure. Also said his teammates showed him nothing but love throughout the night. So Zach gave him the game ball. Greg said several players spoke up in the post-game locker room, expressing their love and admiration for Ball and all he endured to get tonight. And then Kobe, I guess, presented him with the game ball instead. So yeah, this is good. This is all good news. We haven't got anything like, oh, he had knee soreness or anything like that, which even if he had knee soreness, it would be okay. But it just sounds like things went better than expected. Like he's feeling good. He's planning on playing on Friday. Nothing seems to be giving him any sort of issues. Nothing new turned up, right? No new injury. This is good. And so far also, it seems like everyone that played also did not get injured tonight. So that is a humongous thing for this game. Kobe basically had to create his own shots last year. It was him and DeRozan, right? And yeah, like Kobe still was like, he was still getting some off-ball shots because of DeRozan, but yeah, he was the secondary playmaker, really, and it's a lot, and hopefully he doesn't have to do that. Nice, he's playing Friday, good sign. Icing knees is part of the game. Yeah, honestly, icing knees is a huge part of the game. That man needs to be in ice immediately after he comes out. Like every time he's subbed out, get him in ice. Make sure that he is in full-out ice. We don't need any sort of shortcuts. We gotta make sure that man is iced immediately. No questions asked. If you can handle 60 minutes a game for the first month or two, what's the chances they possibly increase minutes usage? No, back-to-back, maybe like 20 minutes, not 16 if they needed. I won't lie, with the way that he looked tonight and with that he was willing to play like 5-minute bursts instead of just 4, I could honestly see them going up to 20 minutes pretty quickly, but they might cap it there for a while, you know? So I think 16 minutes is going to probably be at the start of the year, and maybe like, assuming he has no setbacks, right? I could see that kind of being the minutes restriction for like the first couple of weeks, but if he's really playing like he can get through like 5-minute bursts and not feel like he's pushing it too hard, I could see to get up to 20 pretty quickly, and then it might just kind of stay there, you know? Maybe instead of being like a hard 20, it might be like 20 to 24, right? But you're not going past that. Like, there's no way. Especially in the first like 2 months, there's no way you're going past like 24 minutes. There's no way. We really have to, like, it's like, this was obviously the big step forward tonight. I'm more about like, I want to see kind of how he does like after like 3 weeks, you know? Because that to me is when I expect a little bit more problems that might occur. If there are no problems, awesome. But that's when, you know, you gotta get up every day. You gotta go to practice every day. You gotta make sure you do things. And suddenly then you're playing a lot, right? NBA season is a grind at the end of the day. So yeah, we just gotta be careful, man. I know a lot of people are like, oh, we can push his minutes more. I'm like, I don't think so. We just gotta be very careful with him. And I think, honestly, this year, Lonzo has kind of resigned himself to the bench. I think just the fact that he's out there is good for him. And he's probably happy just being out there. So I think he's perfectly fine just being that bench guy and not playing starting level minutes. Yeah, we'll see, man. I hope this is gonna continue to move in the right direction, but who knows? Good things though tonight. That's the biggest thing. Maybe one game he's hot. He tries to go for 24 games. It's more so about how he feels. Like, yeah, he could be hot, but all I really care about is how he feels. Like, he might be hot. Like, he might not miss in a game, but if he's starting to kind of feel, pretty tired, or if the knee is starting to kind of maybe bark at him, like, you take him out. Like, I don't care how hot he is. Just it's all about what he's telling you and what he's telling the medical staff, and he just needs to listen to himself. Listen to what his body tells him. Yeah. But I've made this clear, I guess, on this channel a few times, but also I've made it pretty clear on Twitter. When it comes to injuries when I talk injuries, like, the only person that I've been kind of like questionable on has been Ben Simmons. When it comes to like, oh, are you actually injured? Even then, I do think that Ben Simmons has some sort of injury going on. I don't think that it's just like, oh, he's just sitting out just to sit out. I do think that there is something going on with Ben Simmons. But when it comes to anything, when it comes to any sort of injury, like I always say, like, I trust the player. I don't ever want to be like, oh, I don't trust that he's injured, or like whatever. I hope that everyone has that same sentiment towards Ball. Like, if Ball says he can't play tonight, then he doesn't play tonight. And then we're all good with it. But I've always said with any player, like, I just trust them when it comes to injuries. So like I said, he just needs to listen to his body and don't listen to the outside noise. Just be good with what his body's telling him. You see, in an interview, he thanked the Bulls franchise for sticking with them. Kind of crazy they did, but really good on him. Yeah, man, I did see that he was like, the Bulls could have just given up on me, and could have just been like, we're not gonna help you through this, but they did. Here's what I will say about that though, Viper Strike. He was under contract this entire time, so it's not like, oh, you're on a minimum contract, we can just get rid of you immediately. So I do think that is something just to consider. But yeah, it is good on the Bulls to stick with them, and I'm glad that he felt supported throughout this entire thing. Didn't see an interview, which site? You can probably find it just somewhere on Twitter. I saw the quote. I didn't see the interview actually, but I saw the quote. Let me see. Let's see here. Hold on. I can't exactly find it. It might be under. Oh, I'm checking one more person. Oh, here you go. I mean, we can read this off CHGO. I got nothing but respect for the Bulls organization. They could have just pushed me to the side and kept moving instead. They've been with me the whole way and given me the best treatment, the best help I can get. So like I said, all the hard work, it wasn't just for me, it was a collective unit. And it all paid off to have me back on the court today. I mean, yeah, it's good. Like, I'm happy that the Bulls organization did this. I do bring up that, like, he was under contract. So it was also pretty hard for the Bulls to just kind of like, yeah, we're done. But yeah, like, it's good that they definitely stuck with them. I've also made this pretty clear. When Lonzo had his surgery, like, right before the season started last year, I know a lot of people were like, what the hell are the Bulls front office doing? Like, they're not listening to him. And like, people were starting to say like that the Bulls front office like tried to convince him not to get another surgery, but then eventually he did. Like, I've always said though that I think that the Bulls front office does, like, they listen to the player. Like they're not just going to be like, we don't think you should do this or whatever. Now, when it comes to the medical staff, though, I don't know how that exactly works. Like I think the Bulls do have their own medical staff that try to make some decisions, but yeah, this Bulls organization, they did like stick with him, and they didn't like tell him like you shouldn't do surgery or you gotta like push back early or like really try to come back early. They let him go do his thing. They let him go to LA and be with his camp and go get the doctors that he wanted, and it's good to see. It's good to see that the Bulls did that, because yeah, you're right, Viper Strike. Like they could have just been like, yeah, we're done with you. We're not gonna help you. You know. I mean, they could have done that thing to get this contract off the books. I forget what it's called. So yeah, there is there was the talk of, and honestly, I did think that the Bulls were, if let's say for this year, Lonzo wasn't available, like he was still having some serious issues, the Bulls might have honestly have thought of like what they would do is that they would go to the league office and they would pretty much tell the league office like, hey, this player just cannot play in the NBA anymore, right? And the league office would have to then use their own doctors and get their own people and go and look at Lonzo, and when they would basically make a decision on if Lonzo could recover and actually play again, or if they can't. If they or if he can't. If they think that he cannot ever play again, basically what happens, it would be that Ball's contract would come off the books for the Bulls, and so then the Bulls would be able to be just free of Ball's $20 million that he's owed this year, or for however many years he was under contract still, if they decided to do it. I just want to make it clear though that if the Bulls did decide to do that, Lonzo still would have gotten paid in full. This doesn't like just suddenly give up Lonzo's salary. Like he still would have gotten paid in full. But what that would have done though is that Lonzo wouldn't have, you know, the medical staff to talk to. He wouldn't have the team facilities to go to and work out at. And I'm sure that he, you know, would have still some sort of connections to some good people, but he wouldn't have the facilities and the treatment stuff to get you know, treatment and stuff like that, and you know, doctors looking at him. So that's what would have happened, and so the Bulls could have done that, but it does seem like at the very least that the Bulls had faith that he was going to come back, and they trusted the process, and it eventually looks like it has paid off. So yeah, I think that it's really good to see it. I feel like John Gotti, no post game or interview with Zoe today. I can try to see here. Maybe someone else could find something on Twitter, but this is like the only thing I do have. This is Lonzo talking. This is from Will Gottlieb. So here's Lonzo talking. I gotta raise my the volume for you guys.
I say that much. I can't even really put into words how I felt out there. I was just blessed, happy to be out there, man. All the support around me was great all night. Man, it was definitely a moment I'll never forget.
How did the knee feel while you were out there?
I wasn't thinking about it at all, so that's a positive thing. I didn't feel it at all. I felt like I was moving great. So now it's just about building. Just continue to do it night in, night out.
Yeah, so everything sounds good there. Yeah, I pulled Twitter away because I don't trust Twitter anymore. Yeah, he was asked about Friday. He said that he's ready to go for Friday. So as of right now, things look like he's gonna be ready to go for Friday. And yeah, there's that. And then this was posted by the Bulls tonight. So here we go.
Today was gonna be a special day regardless of the outcome. He's all back, man. Yeah. So, you know, it's a blessing to be part of his journey. You know, a lot of us being here through it all, you know, and seeing the highs, the lows. So this was a hell of a night for him. You know, here got the game ball, brothers. You know what I'm saying?
We love you, care about you. I'm glad to see you back.
Family on three, man. 1, 2, 3.
This is cool, man. I didn't know that they did this. So this is all the. I'm gonna guess this is just like a like all like good messages to Lonzo on a jersey. So yeah, that's awesome to see. So like it was pretty obvious that he was gonna get the game ball, but it's awesome just to see like this whole jersey that they've put together for him, so that he gets to keep that. So yeah, that's really cool, man. I'm just so glad that like everyone is just supporting him, because man, oh man, this is. I don't know how we're even here. It doesn't seem like we should be here right now, because it really. I was also, I will admit, I was on the whole I don't think he's ever coming back. And the fact that he's here now, I know it's not an official NBA game yet, but he's back out there, and just still looking like himself. So it's been a long time, but he's back. So I'm just happy that everyone's ready to support him through it, and yeah, we'll see how the season goes, man. We'll see how things move ahead. Zach still seems like a big leader in there despite all the offseason stuff. What a pro. I mean, look, man, the offseason stuff is the offseason stuff. Like, sure, is some of it right? Maybe. But I just don't understand where this whole mindset of like Zach's just really, he's trying to do all this or whatever, like he's trying to force his way. Like, for example, when people started to talk about with Zach of like when he decided to get the surgery done, and it was basically his way of like, I don't want to play for the team anymore, but more importantly, I also don't want to get traded to the Pistons. And so like they're like saying like, oh, he's such a diva for trying to only get traded to certain places. Which I've said it. I don't know if that was really the case. I disagree. I think for Zach, I have always said, or for any player, it's like if they decide to get a surgery, it's not like they're just getting a surgery just cause. Like they're legitimately going to get surgery. I personally wouldn't question it. I would trust them. And for that moment, a lot of people were like, we don't know. And then all these things come out in the offseason about how he's not a good teammate, and how he and the Bulls front office aren't seeing eye to eye. He and Billy Donovan still don't have a good relationship, which is, I always just find that odd, because at the end of the day, this is a business. It's not a family. I know Lonzo did say family, but like I don't think you need to be, brothers with your coach. I really think that it's just like you just need to have a working professional relationship. And I think Zach has gone on and and he has been for the most part. There have been moments where he has not been, but for the most part, in my opinion, he's been professional. And I think if there's any questions about him not giving, not coming into training camp or not willing to play with certain guys, I think that should all just go out the window. Because at the end of the day, that he is going to come in great shape, ready to play, and he's going to go out there and be a good basketball player. Like that at the end of the day, that's what you're going to say about Zach. And so he seems to me like what Darnell Mayberry did say about him trying to be a good leader, and him writing that article, like it does seem like it's a true thing. So Zach has never been someone, in my opinion, that is like a vocal leader, like an Alex Caruso, right? I've always said there's different ways of leadership. There are leading by examples, and then there's leading by actually, confrontational styles. There's really trying to mentor someone. Zach has always been, I do my business, I go about my business, and I go home. But that does not mean that he's not a leader. I think, in my opinion, he more so leads by example, but maybe this year he steps forward and does a little bit more stuff vocally. I think that'd be good to see. So yeah. To be honest, I thought we should have gotten him out of the books last year when I heard He was getting a new knee. Yeah, I was also thinking, man, when I saw the cartilage transplant tweet go out, I was just like, what? Like, there's no way for Lonzo. But yeah, it's crazy, man. We're here. Back. Such a long season for bad knees. Cross my fingers for Lonzo, but a lot can go wrong pretty quick. Jordan, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. I'm very scared. I won't lie. But still, though, it's a very good night tonight for what we saw. What a joke that was. That then came out. Detroit wasn't interested. He had issues since like college too for surgery related. But as you get older, your bones get spurs. Yeah. What I saw on the court was Zach being frustrated at times because other guys on the team wouldn't step up enough, and we know because we said they weren't consistent enough before 2022 and at times 2023 year. Well, to me, so last year when it came to Zach, I don't think Zach at any point last year was healthy. I know, like, beginning of the season, we were all thinking he looked like he was healthy. Then the first game happens where they faced the Thunder and he didn't look too good. He didn't look good against the Raptors, and then he went on to have like that. Was it 50 against Detroit? I don't exactly remember what it was, but game 3 against Detroit, he went on to just like he's like, oh no, I'm still myself. And it just like from then on though, it just kind of seemed like it went downhill. In terms of just how he looked out there. So I don't really know if he was ever healthy at any point last year. He didn't try to come back, and then he had that little moment against the Raptors where then we didn't see him for the rest of the year. But I think what happened is that people started to question what they saw in the court was lack of effort, when instead it was just he's not 100%. That to me is something that is important to note of, because I think when you take any player and you put them at 60%, they don't look the same. They don't look like they're giving effort. Like, I'm not saying Zach is a perfect player. I have never said that, and I will never say that. However, as a person that has always supported Zach and has continuously supported Zach, and yes, I do think that he deserved the contract at the time. Now, again, you look at it now and you can have your thoughts, but at the time he deserved the contract. While you can have all, whatever you want to say about Zach in terms of his game, like he's not the best off-ball defender, etc. You still cannot deny that when he is 100%, he is one of the best scorers in the league, and he is no matter what year it is, no matter what team he's on, he is going out there and he is still giving you effort. Like, he is still being part of the team. He's not trying to sit out to try to force his way out of Chicago. He has never done that. I know people thought that surgery was him doing that, but he has never done that. He played on a bad knee and in the last year of his contract before the max contract. I mean, a lot of players wouldn't do that, but he did that because he thought it was going to help the team. And he was risking his money when he went out there when the Bulls made the postseason with DeRozan and Vooch for the first year with them, and Lonzo obviously was there for the first half of the year, but like that was like he was risking money. That I don't think people understand that a lot of people in his position would just have sat. They're like, yeah, I'm not going to risk the money because if I end up actually going out and hurting myself, like I lose the max contract. He went out there and still played because he thought it gave the Bulls the best chance to win, and he was risking his contract. He still eventually got his contract right, but he also didn't get injured, or I should say more injured, but he was injured. So at the end of the day, yes, I'm aware his contract is big. I'm aware that the new CBA hurts people's ability to also get that contract moved. But in terms of, again, professionalism and being there for the team, he has never at any point said, like, no, screw this, I'm not showing up to training camp in shape or anything like that. I think you can go point to a lot of other players in the league right now and be like, you're not ready for training camp. You're not ready for the season. You didn't go work in the offseason on your game and try to refine your game. Like, Zach has always done that. Like, the biggest thing you can never question Zach LaVine's work ethic. You can never do that. You can maybe question some of his IQ on defense for sure, but the last thing you can question right now is Zach LaVine's work ethic, because this man is rehabbed from many injuries before, many serious injuries, and has honestly become, like, if you look at what people projected Zach to be, I've always said this, Zach LaVine turned into a 2-time All-Star. He could have easily been the next Gerald Green. Y'all remember that guy? I hope some people are remember him. I don't feel old for a second, even though I'm in my 20s. But while Gerald Green had like a lengthy career, Gerald Green was a pretty skinny shooting guard, not really a point guard, obviously. Really wasn't much of a small forward either, but he played there. But this dude had incredible athleticism and could just dunk over everybody. He could have, like, Gerald Green could have been what Zach LaVine could have become easily. But Zach turned himself into a 25 point per game scorer that shoots 40% or around 40% on high volume threes, right? If you're wondering, like, what did Gerald Green do? Like, his best year was like 16 points per game, but that was an anomaly year, right? And he shot a lot of threes, especially with the Houston Rockets, but he was never really an all-star. But I think of the player type, right? I look at Zach and they're similar. They just look the same body-wise. And Zach could have easily just turned into this. A lot of projections had Zach turning into something like this. But if you look at what like NBA University and a lot of the other like kind of advanced people, like advanced stats people have said, like Zach is actually one of the like more impressive developments in the last decade, because he wasn't supposed to be an all-star. The fact that he ever became an all-star is actually pretty significant, which should show you that like it's about the work that he's put in. But there's a lot that kind of says that he really shouldn't be an all-star or anywhere close to all-star level, but he was a 2-time all-star. So yeah, I hope that people have started to figure it out. And he's not void of criticism. I so criticize the man, but some of the stuff that people were saying has just been so out of pocket that I'm like, well, I don't know where you just got this, but it's you running with a narrative just because you want to run with it and you think it helps your own narrative. Sure, there are going to be people that question if he's a winning player or not, and because look at his record, he's one of the most losingest players in terms of record. But I mean, there's no, like, I don't know why we don't look at the rest of his teammates and question why, like, or why people don't just stop and think like, oh wow, hey, a lot of his teammates right now are out of the NBA. Yeah. That contract is only bad in hindsight. The CBA made that contract untradeable. It wasn't untradeable at the time. I still don't think it's untradeable. I think if Zach goes out there and plays, and he plays well, I think it's very tradable still. I know it's harder, but the way that people talk about it as if he's getting paid like Steph Curry. Like, there are people that I've made a tweet about this before, where people say that Zach LaVine is paid as much as Steph Curry, and I'm like, no, he's not. He is not paid as much as Steph Curry. I don't know where you got this from, but this is the dumbest thing in the world. Like, I hate when people do that, and they're like, see, this is the reason why it's untradeable. I'm like, no, he's not paid like Steph Curry. Like, here, look, I posted this person's tweet. Nobody doubts his talent. What teams don't want is his contract. He gets paid as much as Steph, whom you can build a championship team around. I'm sorry, but LaVine is the best at number 2 and probably number 3. I'm like, okay, well, let's actually go look at the numbers. Like, if you're wondering how much Steph Curry has made this year, well, here we go. Like, it's not the same. it is drastically different. I hate when people do this. So Steph Curry is making $62 million this season. If you're wondering how much Zach LaVine is making this year, he's making $43 million, excuse me. So you're looking at a $17 million difference between Steph Curry and Zach LaVine just this year. Like, I don't know what the whole like, where this right here, this person just is, this is false info. He is not making as much as Steph. He's not making as much as the top tier players. Okay, it's false info. It is still a major chunk of the salary cap, though. It is still 30.6% of the salary cap. I understand that's big, but there's a number 2 player who you could argue that you know, he was the best player for the Boston Celtics in the finals, which he was. He won the finals MVP, but I mean, he's not even getting paid as much as Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown's the number 2 on Boston. Like, I don't know what people are really upset about. I think he's kind of paid as if he should be paid as a number 2. So yeah, maybe the Bulls are stuck with him for now, but you can't tell me that he's paid like a number 1. You can't, because he's not paid like a number 1. I think the argument that more people have been saying that I think is more legit is that LaVine is a number 3, but he's paid like a number 2. And so instead, for example, instead of him being paid like a number 3, which is more so what Porzingis is paid, right? Porzingis is paid about this much per year, 30-ish million. Like, there's that. But then I go tell people, hey, so by the way, the New York Knicks have just go ahead and decided to pay OG Anunoby more money than what Zach LaVine is getting paid in the last 5 years. So, I don't know, man. It's just something to think about. I think people just kind of, sorry, it's about the same money as Zach LaVine. OG Anunoby is not the same player as Zach is. I know some people are gonna be like, well, he's a good defender and everything, and sure, but I don't know. Personally, for a guy who I project is going to be the 4th option on the roster, I don't know. Is is $212 million worth it for the 4th man on the roster? 4th option, I should say. I think it's a legitimate question to have. Let's see. Sorry, I need to catch up on everything. Rob. You are right that Zach took a major step in Minnesota. He did. I also was when the Bulls did trade for Zach. And first off, if you're wondering, I was a major Jimmy Butler fan. I was not happy with the trade. As much as I've become a Zach LaVine fan, I've said that the Jimmy Butler trade still didn't make any sense. You traded Jimmy Butler for no future picks. That makes no sense. I think if the Bulls got what they got back plus like 2 first-round picks, then yeah, that's fine. But they didn't do that. But when the Bulls did trade for Zach, I was making it clear to people, like, I think he is improving. I don't think he's stuck at only 19 points per game. I think he could get to more. The big question, obviously, was can he play point guard and then his defense. I think both of those are legitimate questions to have, but he then ended up scoring 27 a game. Like, the fact that he got to this point of being able to score 27 a game in a season, that I think kind of shut up a lot of people of like, oh, is he going to actually be worth it? He scored 27 in a game on 50-40 shooting and 85% from the free throw line. That doesn't just happen, okay? Like, that's a 50-40 85 season on 27 points per game. That doesn't happen, People are just like, yeah, this is normal. Like, no, it's not. And yeah, he's had to adjust his game since, like, he's playing with others, but I think that the narrative that he is only washed or he's a shell of himself or that those years were a fluke is weird. Assuming he's healthy, again, the big question is always his health. I think that is always the biggest legitimate question with Zach is, can he stay healthy? Because he is an athletic flyer. But if he's healthy, if he is given enough shot attempts, he is gonna go average at least 24 per game on good efficiency. That's what you're gonna get, no matter what. Last year, obviously, he was not healthy. He decreased his field goal attempts down to 15, which is not normal, right? And even with that being said, he still averaged more points than Kobe White did last year. Again, we say that Kobe White had a great year, right? We say that Zach LaVine had a pretty bad year. Zach LaVine still averaged more points than Kobe White did last year. ASL roster and said, yes, this team sucks. I'm training for Vooch tomorrow, getting AC. Because Zach was probably, look, I'm not waiting for rebuild too. And when he and Vooch for DeMar and AC and Zo on the way. I mean, look, the one thing that AC can always say to us is that we never got to see that full roster for a full season. Now, I still think it would not have ever gotten anywhere farther than 6th seed because you needed to do more. You needed to probably trade Vooch and get something better. And it'll just, continuously get your team better. Like, you don't just stop. Like, For example, the New York Knicks went and got Karl Anthony Towns because they thought it was a better move, which I don't know personally if that is a better move. I won't lie. But you see that teams are like, yeah, if we think that we're a legitimate team, then like you do what the Boston Celtics do and go out and get Porzingis. You go and trade for Drew Holiday. Like, you may be a contender already, or you may be a good team, but how can you make yourself an even better team? And that's what AK didn't do. He didn't go out and do that with that sort of core. But yeah, with Zach though, like I think there's some people that you know they're always going to argue that they should have traded Zach at the beginning, and that's fine. I think you can have a legitimate argument with that. But to say to me that, well, you trusted your entire franchise into Zach and that's the reason why you lost, I just think that's not what really happened. I just think that DeRozan suddenly came along and he really kind of took the mantle. Yeah, he wasn't getting paid like the number one guy, but he was the guy. Zach decided to be the 2 and still went on to average a good amount. But the team itself was not functional at all. Like, you still have this Vooch issue that has not turned out to be good, and you're lacking shooting everywhere, right? Like, I just think that the team just was not built for success, especially sustained success. So, now that we're past that point, I just hope that people can really get and understand, like, okay, Zach's 29 now. You know, I hope that they understand he's not 34 or 35, because I think if he was 34 or 35, then yeah, he might be washed, but he's not washed now. And he will go out there and perform well. And if the Bulls do find some sort of suitor to potentially as a trade partner, I hope that they get something in return for him and not just some BS that they're like, yeah, we just want his contract off the books. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm just asking for like a little something. But it's hard to kind of do a salary dump anyway without a little something. But yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping that it's a little bit more than just yeah, here's some bad contracts and we move on. But who knows? Because at the end of the day, you have a guy that is very, very much in place. Like, he plays exactly how the modern day game plays. Available. Teams should absolutely be wanting that, even if he's getting paid a lot. Kobe trying to get Zach level efficiency. I have said that Kobe White to me is a poor man Zach LaVine, and I hate using that term, but Kobe needs to find a way to go on average 25 before I'm like, yeah, he's like the next Zach LaVine. They're very similar. Like, they're extremely similar. But the problem with Kobe is just he's just less efficient. And he's also worse on defense. So Kobe, where Kobe can take over Zach is his playmaking. Like, he is a better ball handler. He'll have the ability to find his teammates better than Zach ever will. But in essence, though, they're pretty similar. They average basically the same like numbers of assists and rebounds. They're very similar. They average about the same amount of steals. They score very similarly. They are both 3-level scorers, right? They can score pretty much anywhere on the floor. But I mean, you see here, like, it's eerily similar. It's just that Kobe is just a little shorter, and he's just not as good of a defender. Which, yeah, we'll see how it works out with Kobe. Again, I'm very excited to see what Kobe's going to be doing this year, but I don't know what the term should be. Like, I don't want to say poor man Zach LaVine because it just sounds bad. I guess he's just like a less Zach LaVine, if that makes sense. But yeah. We could saw playoffs each year, but injuries and no luxury kill Bulls since 22-23. Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, like if AK was all about like, you know, what he did and he went in, it's like it's also so funny to me because when I listen to some people argue about the Bulls, they're like, well, Zach didn't take us to the playoffs or didn't consistently win us playoff games, but yet they also are absolutely just destroying the front office. So I'm like, how do you expect a one player to carry you to like multiple playoff wins if you're saying the front office can't do crap? But anyway, yeah, the front office completely botched it because if this front office was legit at like, oh, we're gonna get out of the rebuild, we're gonna try to move forward and play better, they obviously would have done more. They would have gone to the luxury tax. They would have probably traded Vooch and packaged in with something else to go ahead and get another solid player. Obviously, they can't predict the Lonzo injury, but they would have done a lot more, and they just didn't. So the team was not set up for sustained success. It was set up for a little 3-year run that was not good. And here we are at the end of it, right? We're done. I like Zach is DeMar's age. Yeah, I don't understand why people think that Zach LaVine is DeMar DeRozan's age. He's not. He's not DeMar DeRozan's age. Kobe also getting better at getting to the line. Yeah, Kobe, I will say, if where Kobe will probably be better than Zach is the free throws, like just be able to draw fouls, but not just like fouls in the interior, but also fouls on the perimeter. Because Kobe's handles are just better. And I do think that because Kobe is a little bit shorter to the ground, it does help him in that sense. But he has also just put the more work in terms of his handling. Because he doesn't have the athleticism that Zach has, right? So it makes a lot of sense. But that being said, though, it's because you don't have the athleticism, can you go out and score 25 a night? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Kobe's more of a poor man's Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson's still just a better player off the dribble, like compared to Kobe. Brunson also uses a lot of mid-range. If you want to see this, like, I hope people understand. Brunson is like, let's just look at this here. Like, Brunson was really willing to go to the mid-range when he wanted to, and while I do think Kobe does have a good mid-range shot, I think Kobe has finally started to get to the three-point line a lot more. So you can see here, like, Brunson was like, yeah, I'm willing to take these mid-range shots when necessary. He shot actually a really good percentage, honestly, from the mid-range, as you can see here, like 47%, 50% between 3 and 10 feet, 42% between 16 and three-point line. Like, that's good for a mid-range shooter. If it was any lower than that, then I'm like, you shouldn't be shooting these shots. But he then also put up 610 threes, so he still shot the three ball good enough. Enough shots from there. Yeah, to me, I think Brunson's a little different style. I think he's a little bit slower than Kobe. Kobe uses a lot of his speed and his great handling. With Brunson, it is a lot of it's more methodical. To me, with Brunson, this is a bad comparison, but it's always the first thing that jumps to my mind. Brunson reminds me more of like how Tony Parker did his stuff. Tony Parker, in my opinion, obviously he wasn't the most athletic, but I'm talking also more like older year Tony Parker. When Tony Parker was younger, he could fly like the rest of them, but as he got older, he was more methodical and was able to use his like craftiness to find ways to get shots at the rim, but also use the mid-range to his advantage. He just obviously wasn't as good of a three-point shooter as Brunson is. So yeah, it's a little bit, I think it's a little bit different. Let's see. So Kobe's so far defense and maybe raised to almost average last year and part of the year before. Rob, unfortunately, I disagree. If you look at the numbers, I thought LaVine played bad defensively last year, and Zach LaVine was better defensively than Kobe White was last year. It sucks to say, but that's just the unfortunate reality with Kobe. He doesn't have the skill set. So I don't question his effort. I think Kobe White's effort is very good on defense. It's just that he just doesn't have the skill set. Brunson won in from Dallas. I remember telling Buddy he's going to be good, but I didn't think good. Patton also helped Brunson a lot. I also wanted Brunson somehow on the Bulls because he is from the Chicago area. He went to Stevenson High School, so I really wanted Brunson on the Bulls. But second round pick. I was also with you, Rob, that I was telling people that Jalen Brunson is going to be good. I did not think this good, but I told people he was going to be pretty good. But yeah, this is a shocker to me with how good he is. Look at Brunson praise Patton. That's good. Yeah. Very surprised by their ability to draw free throws and fouls so far. It is huge, right? Jalen Brunson is one of the biggest foul shooters now, isn't he? It's insane. He can draw fouls like the best of them. Brunson's next to Mar mid-range wise, they're similar. They're definitely similar. If you're wondering what DeMar DeRozan's shot chart looks like, this is something just to keep in mind because a lot of people I feel like don't fully understand how many mid-range shots he does take, but here we go. So 233 3-point attempts and 344 attempts between 10 to 16 feet. I think you kind of understand what's happening here. Don't get me wrong, DeRozan was very good from mid-range. I don't question that. I just question, like, is this really the right thing we should be prioritizing in the offense? You know, good question. I think Brunson had to be this good. He could be any worse with this. Like, you're right. Oh, if Brunson's not this good, then yeah, I don't know what he is, honestly. The Knicks, man, they took a serious gamble on him. When I said though, like, having Brunson kind of be like the shooting guard in a sense, I thought it was kind of like that was a decent role for him, you know. I thought that he'd be good there or be like a good sixth man. But when the Knicks signed him to be their point guard, I was like, I don't know about this, man. This is scary. Like, this scares me for the Knicks. And honestly, let's be real, right? When it came to the Knicks initially for Jalen Brunson, like when he first signed there, it wasn't looking amazing. Like this first year, like he like improved, but it was just like the Knicks weren't exactly like the best thing in the world. It was obviously just last year where he just seriously took off. Yeah. So yeah, it was an interesting thing to kind of witness with Brunson. You know, all NBA obviously last year, so we'll see. Yeah, six man, I can kind of see it, but even as a shooting guard, there were some tall SL shooting guards out there for him to be playable. Well, yeah, I guess I was just saying that, like, if you pair him next to like a Luka Doncic, right, it makes a lot of sense. You know, it's similar to how they do the Kyrie Irving and Luka thing. So it's like, yeah, you do have the small guard, but you have like the ginormous point guard. So it would kind of even out at the end of the day, because then Brunson would have to go guard the small guard, or he would go guard the shooter that doesn't do too much, right? I think there's enough, like, you can try to hide him enough, but you are right though, it does present some challenges. Like it really is something to kind of be concerned about. Like, well, you know, there's the whole talk of when you look at the entire NBA history, like there has never been a team that has been led by a small guard that has won the championship except for Isaiah Thomas with the Pistons and then Steph Curry with the Warriors, right? So there's always those exceptions, but you look at some like the rest of history, like Steve Nash never won a championship. Chris Paul has never won a championship as the main guy, right? Allen Iverson never did it, and you know he made it to the finals. There's always that talk. So you are right, Viper Strike. Like there is always the limit, and for Brunson as a 6'2", probably shorter guard, like there is that limit on his head. Like, can you be the main guy in a championship roster? Again, there's always exceptions, but I don't know. I have my doubts too. I won't admit. So yeah, it is something just to kind of think about, where maybe instead of him being the main guy, maybe he needs to be the number 2 guy. He's also played for Bulls, but Tim's stat was the connection he was probably going to anyway. Oh, for sure. Yeah, but Kyrie is also really good. He has to be that good to be playable. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're definitely right, Viper Strike. Yeah. Because Brunson, at the end of the day, like, he did really turn himself into be, like, a really good player. Even before he got to the Knicks, like, he was looked at as, like, yeah, he's pretty good. Shot maker in general, just, he was pretty good out there. But I don't know, man. Like, it's, like, when I do look at the rest of the NBA history of, like, that sort of stat, right? I know a lot of Knicks fans are just like, oh, well, Brunson's the exception. Like, I just don't know, man. Like, that's a rough thing to kind of go through. It's a rough thing to kind of think about, where you're like, man, so all these guys that were the main guy, they just happened to be the small dude and they just never won, you know? Yeah, it's something to think about. Like, even, for example, let's say like the Seattle Supersonics when they played the Bulls, like you could probably argue between Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, but if anything, Gary Payton's probably your best player. They didn't win either. John Stockton, Karl Malone, I just say Karl Malone was the better player. So I'm nothing about that. So like, you just look down the list. I mean, last champion was the Boston Celtics. I mean, but they had 2 forwards and both, or 2 wings and Tatum and Brown. Like, so you don't have a small guard, right? And you just keep going, and obviously, except you hit the Warriors, and it's Steph Curry. You could argue it for a bare minimum, it was 2 of those championships. It was Steph Curry's the best player. There was obviously then Durant there. You just keep going. Like, even Chauncey Billups, when he won his, right, and he won his Finals MVP, like, he's still like a taller guard in a sense, right? When Tony Parker won his Finals MVP, Tim Duncan was still the best player on the Spurs. It just, like, you just can kind of look at it and you're like, man, height does matter at the end of the day, but you are seeing like the kind of like the median point where it's everyone's like 6'6", 6'8", but we don't have as many 7-footers that are around as much, you know? Combo, Stockton, Malone, pick and roll, maybe the best duo ever too in terms of effectiveness. I mean, yeah, but Karl Malone is still probably like the best player at the end of the day. Yeah, I think if you're too short, you legit have to be really good or you ain't playable. Like that little Japanese guard the Grizzlies have. He's a dope passer and even defender, but he needs to get better. You something. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, even for the Grizzlies though, right? Like Ja Morant's their best player. He's 6 foot. Like he's shorter than everybody. But do you think the Grizzlies are going to the championship and winning it? Like, I mean, you're right. You're definitely right. Like, unless you're gonna be like Ja Morant, right? You're that small, you're not gonna play. But I'm also just bringing up the point, like, you can have a small guard to go out and average 30 points per night, but are you gonna really go win the championship with that guy, especially in the playoffs? I don't know. It's a big question. Like the only 2 that have done it have been Isaiah Thomas and Steph Curry. They're the only 2 that have ever done it. And with Steph, like, you can say that Kevin Durant was the best player for two of those years, but he still did it. He still got those 2. So it's just like, it is always interesting just to look at, you know. If you're 6 foot or under, you better be fast or can shoot and dribble past, or you ain't playing. I mean, now I even argue that it's 6'3" or shorter. Like, I think a lot of guys that are 6'3", like, they still kind of get moved on from, you know. Like, for example, like right now, like Kemba Walker, now he did have some injuries, right? But Kemba Walker, for example, like, I mean, this dude's a 4-time All-Star. He has some amazing years. He didn't just kind of fell off a cliff, because that's what happens to small guards, right? Small guards, they kind of die pretty quickly because of the beating that they take, and if they ever lose some sort of athleticism, they lose a lot of it. They're what made them good. But Kemba Walker, right? I mean, he just suddenly was like out of the league. He went from being an all-star to then suddenly he's gone, you know? And you're right. Like, if he suddenly doesn't have that scoring ability, he's just kind of nothing out there. He's not a good defender, right? Etc. I mean, we can even go all the way down to, if we remember when Isaiah Thomas was on the Boston Celtics when he was up for this MVP year. I mean, Isaiah Thomas, unfortunately for him, he then suffered the injury, but the Celtics, like, were they going to win the championship this year with Isaiah Thomas being the main guy? It's hard, man. It's really hard. He had a phenomenal year as a 5'9" dude. He had one of the best years I've ever seen for a very short guard. But are you going to go win the championship with this? We'll never really know, but my guess is no. Yeah. I think you could say KD was a better player, but I wouldn't agree with you. Yeah, that's fine. I honestly think Steph Curry should have won the second Finals MVP that KD won. But yeah, I think that's fine. But yeah, man, it's rough. It's rough for the short guards still, right? 6'3", maybe the new 6 foot. I think that's unfortunately how it is, right? If you're 6'3", it's kind of, unless you're like a really solid defender that can like handle guys much taller than you and you shoot the 3 ball really well, like for example, like a Mike Conley, just because we played him tonight, like, you know, you're not gonna really stick around. Mike Conley, what the good thing with him is that he shoots the 3 ball really well. He's a pretty solid defender, even though he's short, you know. Did you realize how small Mitchell was? I mean, this is the reason why with the Cavs I have doubts of their future. I love Donovan Mitchell. I don't like to brag about it, but I've always said with Donovan, like I did say with Donovan Mitchell that he would be a good player one day. I did not think he'd be an all-star, but I said he'd be a good player. And he's obviously turned into an absolute superstar. But with the Cavs, like I'm not shocked that they've had their struggles in the playoffs. I don't know what they're gonna do though, because they have two small guards. Like they have two guards that are undersized out there as their backcourt. I think one of them has to go. I think at this point you probably choose Mitchell to just run your point, but I think one of them has to go, and then Mobley has to take like a serious step forward. He doesn't have to maybe be the best player on the team, but he has to take a serious step forward, right? And then maybe we can start talking about the Cavs having the anomaly of like we have a small guard leading us to a championship, but that's rough though for them. Another team that to also think about though for small guards that didn't work out, right? Damian Lillard was the leader of the Bucks. They made it to the Western Conference Finals, right? So I mean, Lillard is, he's in the NBA 75 somehow. I don't know exactly if I believe or agree with that, but they also Lillard and McCollum were a very small backcourt. He just seemed to be limited, and I think Lillard, for what he has done as a small guard, is pretty ridiculous. Like the numbers that this man put up for a couple of seasons are just like insane. And it's like, yeah, this man put up some of the like this man put up numbers that you could argue are even crazier than what Steph Curry kind of did. But the problem is just that he's a small guard and then the team's limited. I think Lillard actually does play defense. Like I think that he tries. I think more recently he hasn't tried, but some of the stuff, man, like if you remember the bubble, like there are some games where Lillard, you're just like, what the heck is happening? Yeah, this it's just hard to think about, Did I see Deion versus Mitchell again? He did well last game, yeah. Final type player. I can't get behind Donovan Mitchell since his 70-point game was a gimme from the refs against the Bulls. Yeah, that was unfortunate. I hate the fact that it was against the Bulls too, but yeah, that he left early at the free throw line. That was annoying. Yeah. I bring it up often when people say the Bulls were in 500 in 2023. Refs screwed Bulls 4 games. That was one. Still though, I just think that that Bulls team just wasn't good enough. Still, but like, yeah, we weren't 500, but we were very mid. Still, we're still very mid. Sorry, yeah, sorry for the tangent, but I mean, at the end of the day, so I know we started with Zach. Like, as much as I am a Zach LaVine supporter, I have said I do think Zach should get traded. I do think that it's just best for him and also just best for the team overall moving forward. I'll be sad to see him go. I will admit, because I think that watching him is fun. Like watching Zach LaVine go out play basketball is fun. I think it's he has a game that I think is very just nice to watch. It's very efficient and etc. But to me it is the right decision. I just don't know if the Bulls are going to actually do it, or if there will be a team that will try and actually get him. I do think that if he does play well, he will get traded and a team will want him. But then it's on the Bulls front office, which we just don't trust right now, right? The Bulls front office is to do the right thing, and who knows? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Bulls should have been 44-38 in 2023, or could have been at least 41-41. I mean, yeah, I would agree with you, because that season I also said the Bulls should win 44 to 46 games, and they didn't. Zach kind of saw it. Zach had a weird year that year too, because he was recovering from his knee surgery. He couldn't really finish at the rim early on, but then he was shooting the lights out of the ball. But then he had his struggles, and then the second half of the season, he was like one of the best players in the league. So I just always am like, yeah, maybe if LaVine was 100% to start the season, then maybe they won 44, but who knows? Yeah, I'd be surprised if Zach isn't a Laker by the end of the year. I actually just don't know how that's possible, though. Like, I don't know how the Lakers do it. So with all the new rules, it is extremely hard and difficult to figure this all out. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of like what everyone's thinking, right? Like Levine to the Lakers. Sorry, hold on. A little bit. Team's gotta be calling every day to AK about everyone. I hope so, but I also hope AK is calling other people. I don't want AK just to kind of sit there and be like, "Yeah, we're good." Like, no, like you gotta go find ways to get your players' value up. But okay, let me see a spot track. I want to see what's available in spot track because this is always a hard thing to work with because spot track does limit you if you're not able to do certain trades. So send Zach to the Lakers. The problem is that the Lakers are a first apron team. So doing this would probably hard cap them at the second apron. No. This would work. I want to make sure I'm not missing something before I decide, like, okay, yeah, this would work. For the Bulls, I don't think this is really much. This doesn't help you. Because, like, if you're the Bulls, you're like, I want Austin Reeves. But looks like the money doesn't work if that's the case. So, all right, this is it. You get some picks and you run through it, I guess. But also, just a reminder though, for this to work out, like, these players have to go somewhere, right? It's not like the Bulls can just take on these 3 players. They have to then be traded somewhere else, or there has to be a third team involved. The Bulls just can't just like take on an extra 2 players. So for the picks, it would just be the Lakers. They can't trade this pick. Or no, sorry. What is this? Oh, is it? What is? Hold on. If 1 through 4. Oh, great. So they have a protection on this pick, so they can't trade. They can't trade this pick. They can't trade this pick. They can't trade this pick. So it'd be 2029. That's the earliest pick that the Lakers can trade. And I don't know, just throw some seconds in or something. Yeah, here's your deal. This is your Zach LaVine trade to the Lakers breakdown. Maybe D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent. I guess the 2029 first round pick from the Lakers and just some seconds if they're willing to add it. Here you go. This is your trade. Assuming that spot track's all right, which I don't know if it is. Spot track has had some weird stuff. But as you can see here, Chicago must weigh 5. In this case, it would be 2. Yeah. Worst case is Lakers got 0 draft capital for Bulls. Like, this is the reason why, like, when I tell people this, it's not, if the Bulls are actually truly trying to rebuild, right? Like, them trading for a 2029 pick is not going to help. Like, it just isn't going to help. I don't care how bad the Lakers are projected to be in 2029, but first off, it's the Lakers, so I don't expect them to be bad. But secondly, it's like, I mean, if the Bulls are trying to be bad now, like, why do you think they're going to be bad in 2029? It just doesn't make any sense. I know that you're probably then thinking, like, okay, you can maybe trade Russell and, I don't know, maybe Hachimura for something, but I don't think you're getting anything really that significant in return. I don't know. I personally would say it, like, if this is what you're offered, I wouldn't do it. I'm willing to bet more on that Zach's gonna play better and some team that actually kind of does need his scoring, which I know the Lakers do need his scoring, but like I think another team might be willing to do a little bit, give out a little bit more. That's a little bit more immediate, and so that they're also not sacrificing their entire future. I don't know who that is. I'm being real. I don't know who that is. The one team I always kind of think about still, but it's going to be extremely hard for it to work out, is the Heat, because I do think that the Heat would need a Zach. Oh, sorry. Hold on. We're going to reset this. But the problem with the Heat is that they did just trade for Terry Rozier last year, so it's a little hard for them to kind of make some sort of move. But it would basically the Bulls would get Tyler Hero, and I guess it would be Duncan Robinson too. and even that is not enough. It looks like. Chicago's hard captains over there open by $6 million in this sort of deal. Yeah, this is the problem, you know. So I guess let's see. The Bulls can then send. I don't know. Let's just send Chris Duarte, and then this doesn't work. See, 519. Oh my God, it sucks. Remove. Let's send this. Send Torrey Craig. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. This is extremely difficult. It's like it's almost impossible to do because of the new stuff here. So I guess I guess the money would work if it's Dale and Terry. Okay, yeah. If it's Dale and Terry, the money would work, which would not make much sense if you're the Bulls. And then if you're the Heat, then it's like here's the trade. So the Bulls will get Tyler Hero to kind of work around with and see what maybe he becomes. But okay, let's see. This is protected. So theoretically, they could trade he could. No, they can't. Wait, what is this? Nope, they cannot trade this. Does not convey first to OKC in 2025. Oh my God. Yeah, that sucks. Never mind. Screw the Heat. This is not gonna work. It's like they're saying that this is possible, but like, I don't know what the Bulls would not want this, right? Because they only get this pick if it's 1 through 14. It's lottery protected. Yeah, never mind. Screw this. This doesn't work. Twenty exactly way too far. We got guards wings. Let's see what we got. Yeah, like a team will get desperate if anything, and AK makes a move because he has leverage. Well, yeah, you would hope that AK understands that if let's say Zach LaVine is playing well, and you could see some teams out there that they're like, we need scoring badly. Which again, I don't know which team it would be, but you know, one team is the Bucks that I'm actually kind of thinking about, but. You know, you're like, okay, he's playing well, teams need scoring badly, and there's multiple teams, then he uses his leverage to be like, okay, so you teams, you know, you call me, give me your best offer for Zach. That's how you raise Zach's trade value. That's what you hope he does. I just think that, unfortunately, he'd be more, like, inclined to try to, just to try to make the big move when he thinks it's possible, instead of just, you know, trying to make the whole teams, bargain against each other, but I don't know, man. I really don't know at this point. When it comes to Arturas Karnisovas, so I'm just interested to see. I don't think this is possible. I'm interested because the Denver Nuggets really do need some scoring right now because I don't know about Jamal Murray's ability anymore. So obviously you would need Aaron Gordon to come back, and already I'm seeing this is not going to be possible because 13. This is not going to work. The fact that Zeke Naji got this much money is ridiculous. So let's just take that money on. So yeah, basically you would need Michael Porter Jr. and then you would have to include like Sarge and maybe Braun or something. Like even this is not going to work. Yeah. I'm just curious. Yeah, not possible. So. Magic. I don't know why the Magic would do this. I will admit it wouldn't make much sense to me, but also I would not want to get fleeced by the Magic again. So we would get Suggs. They would have to use Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's big contract. So like I see like a world where it's possible. Maybe the Bulls get Anthony Black out of it. That'd be pretty cool. Magic have just a lot of young talent that I'd like to go after, and that'd be good for the Bulls rebuild. So, I don't see this happening though. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna have to come somewhere down the road where we're like actually looking at different teams. Further, I heard he's trying to come back from the injury, so I'm glad no Kings trade was made for Zach. Oh, let me just quickly talk about this because this stuff bothers the heck out of me. Because this came out today just randomly, you know. Sorry if my enter button would work. let me show you this. So I brought this up earlier in the pregame stream. Also, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I know I just saw it's midnight, so I just want to say thank you for all the guys that thank you for everyone that's checked in, and thank you for hanging out with me tonight. So if you have not already, please hit the like button on the stream. Helps me out a ton. Appreciate the support, guys. Okay, so there's this whole talk all of a sudden that like the Kings are trying to make another move, and so this guy named Matt is saying, yeah, the Bulls or the Kings are trying to get Levine or Ingram. And then the Bloody Horns podcast decided, I'm gonna tweet this out, and he said there's actually no way the Kings can trade for Zach LaVine unless they're sending DeMar DeRozan back to Chicago. And I'm just like, what? If you're not aware, my reaction is because this is false. This is not true. First and foremost, let's just go ahead and look at SpotTrack, okay? If you're wondering, well, is like, what do the Kings actually have that can be moved for Zach's contract? I just want to make this clear. DeMar DeRozan cannot be traded until December 15th because he was signed as a free agent. If you're not aware, if you sign as a free agent, you're not allowed to be traded until December 15th. Most of the time, sometimes there's other rules which I won't get into with the CBA, but for example, Patrick Williams signed a new contract this offseason, but he is not available to be traded until January 15th. So just keep that in mind. But so just first and foremost, okay, this person's saying that the only way that the Kings can get Zach LaVine is if they trade DeMar DeRozan. Well, buddy, I got news for you. DeRozan can't get traded. So this is off the board. Don't know why this is even a thought process. Now, let's say that the restrictions are completely off the board. Let's say that DeRozan is available to get traded, which also means that Malik Monk is able to get traded. Malik Monk is also not available to get traded until December 15th. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and propose a trade between the Kings and the Bulls. All right? Just a simple little idea. We're trying to get Zach LaVine to the Sacramento Kings. Don't know why the Kings would do this. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. But let's just do the money. Okay? So, we need to get Kevin Huerter, obviously traded to the Bulls. Okay? We would then, the Bulls also take on Trey Lyles. And then, ideally, we get someone like Devin Carter just to kind of see how good he becomes. But as you can see with this, okay, the outgoing cap already is at $29 million. So if you go ahead and just add Malik Monk's contract, you're gonna get there. Like, I don't know why this is a question. You'll get the money. If you're not aware, so if you add Malik Monk's contract, you get 36 plus 10, so it'll be $46 million. That covers Zach's contract. I don't know why there's suddenly this was tweeted out. Like, yeah, so, or sorry, this one. The Bulls, the Kings can't trade for Zach LaVine unless DeRozan is being sent to Chicago. He was trying to say money-wise that you cannot have the three of the Sabonis, Fox, and DeRozan on the roster because for some reason in his head this is not possible. Well, I'm telling you right now, it is possible. Like theoretically, it is possible. If you trade Malik Monk, if you trade Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, and Devin Carter, you get the money. It's very doable. Obviously, though, the problem is like you just traded 4 players for 1 player, and so you have to go and try to figure out a way to make sure the rest of the roster works. But still, though, like it's doable. It's like that his saying though that you have to trade DeMar DeRozan to Chicago for the money to even be possible is just not factual. And this is not me trying to start another beef with another YouTube creator for the Bulls. I actually like the Bloody Horns podcast. I think he does a really good job. But I think this whole tweet though, first off, it makes no sense because it's like why. But also, secondly, the Kings can't make a big move right now until Malik Monk, in my opinion, is available. So, I mean, unless they're willing to give up Keegan Murray, which I don't know why they would give up Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray looks really good right now. I don't know what is telling people like, yeah, the Kings are about to make a big move. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would the Kings go out and make another big move right now? When first off, I don't know if they can. But secondly, like, you're giving up Keegan Murray? Like, so, for example, what people are also talking about is with Brandon Ingram. So, let's actually keep the trade restrictions on, and let's try to see if we can get Brandon Ingram to the Kings. And Brandon Ingram's making less money than Zach, but it's similar. But if you look here, like, even with Keegan Murray in it. Like, it's possible, but again, why would you do it? This would have to be the deal. Like, there's nothing else that's gonna work. This to me, it seems like a lot, but also, why would you do this? Like, you're giving up Keegan Murray, one of your better defenders and 3-point shooters in the starting lineup, and obviously more future potential for a guy in Brandon Ingram who is on the last year of his contract, who is going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. And you're going to pair Brandon Ingram with DeMar DeRozan, two guys that heavily rely on the mid-range shot. Like, that doesn't make much sense to me. If I had to choose one of Brandon Ingram or Zach LaVine to be paired with the Kings in their current roster formation, I'd pick Zach because he's a 3-point shooter. And then, you know, you can trust him to shoot threes reliably. But the Brandon Ingram talk makes no sense because you're trading Keegan Murray, and I don't understand that thought process. I mean, let's see, will this even work? No, this doesn't even work. Like, you can't even trade Devin Carter and keep Keegan Murray and get Brandon Ingram. It is physically not possible right now. So, I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's just weird stuff that's being reported, and I'm like, what? Like, some of the stuff that's coming out suddenly, I'm like, Jesus, man. We gotta actually, like, look at stuff before we just tweet things out moving forward. You don't know Cap? I mean, I don't know if he necessarily doesn't know Cap, like how cap space works, but I don't know if he just, I honestly think with Bloody Horns, he just didn't look at the rest of the team. Teams that maybe I can see a use for Zach are GSW, Pels, Clippers, sort of some you went over, but nothing seems actual value for both teams in the trade options. I have looked at Golden State. Golden State made it extremely hard though. If you're not aware, there was what I think we talked about it a lot in the offseason. Like the Chris Paul, Andrew Wiggins for Zach was like, I think was like a good thing for the Bulls. They would have worked out. Bulls would have got like Moses Moody or something out of it. But the Warriors then decided to not do that, and then they decided to just release Chris Paul. Because they did that, they've made it so much harder to get Zach. And I'm not just saying about like the Chris Paul money. It's just the fact that they would decide to go below the first apron has kind of screwed over the Bulls for potential Zach LaVine trade. So if you're wondering, like, is this doable? It's really not. You need D'Anthony Melton's money to kick in, and I don't think the Warriors are going to be willing to give up Gary Payton II. And so it'd be Wiggins and maybe actually here it'd be like Wiggins, Buddy Hield, and Kyle Anderson, and then maybe you can convince the Warriors to throw in Moses Moody because they're not trading Jonathan Kuminga at this point. And then for draft picks, you can then get an early draft pick out of it. This wouldn't be too bad, honestly. Again, we're adding other players that are not listed here. This isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's not exactly the best thing in return either. But I think if the Warriors are like trying to be legitimate again, I think they might be willing to throw a little bit more. So it'd be like send to Chicago, but there's just heavier protections on second pick or something. You guys close to aprons? No. So Golden State is the Golden State Warriors are basically where the Bulls are in terms of salary issues. They were like the Warriors were like way above everything. Like they were over the second apron. But now they're kind of similar to where the Bulls are. You can see here the active cap is 176, right? So they've pretty much met the tax threshold of luxury tax threshold. So they're capped at the first apron. If you're wondering like where the Bulls stand on this, it's the exact same spot. The Bulls are also hard capped at the first apron, but we just don't go to the luxury tax. So the first apron is $178 million. The Bulls are hard cap because we use the mid-level exception on Jalen Smith. The Warriors are hard cap because they use the mid-level exception on D'Anthony Melton. So it is the same reason why they're hard capped. So they're hard capped at the same spot. It's just that the Warriors, as you can see, they're willing to go into the luxury tax. The luxury tax threshold is 170 million. The Warriors are at 176, so they're in their luxury tax. The Bulls, on the other hand, are like, yeah, we don't want the tax, so we're gonna stay below the tax, and so we're 166 million, and so we only have $4 million in tax space. We have $9 million for the threshold, but we have $4 million in tax space, and we know that's the hard cut because it's a rise of an organization. Yeah. not great when it comes to the Bulls and their unwillingness to pay the tax. But like I said, though, it is possible because if you combine Wiggins, maybe it's Gary Payton II, but if you combine, let's see, this is 16, so yeah, you get to $42 million between Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, and Andrew Wiggins. Then I think if you're the Bulls, you're saying like, I want Moses Moody, or because you're not getting Podziemski. They love Podziemski. They love Kuminga, and they also love Trace Jackson Davis. So you're probably not getting those guys. So you probably get Moses Moody out of it. Kind of sucks because he's kind of put in the Josh Giddey situation of contract issues, and what you decide to do with him moving forward. And that would be the trade. It's just that now the Warriors don't have a team, right? So it'd be hard. It'd be kind of hard to kind of convince them to also do that. To me, it's going to have to, for Zach, it most likely will have to come down to some sort of 3-team deal, or maybe 4-team deal, to just make sure that everyone kind of is getting like about the same amount of players, and you're not left with one team with only 11 players and another team with like 18. So I don't know. It'll be really hard to just kind of see how it works out at the end of the day. Real quickly though, I'm interested because, and we're gonna end stream with this, and obviously them previewing the game against the Cavs here, but going to what Casey Johnson did tweet out, or actually more so what Julia Poe tweeted out. It seems like the Bulls, so Billy Donovan in the front office would be talking tonight. Sorry, excuse me. So it looks like the front office. Oh no, sorry, they are talking tonight. So Billy Donovan and the Bulls front office will be talking tonight. We'll be seeing who is going to be staying and who's going to be going. It would not shock me if the Bulls kind of make their decision tomorrow or maybe on Friday on who's going to be staying. But I think it's kind of, we all can kind of agree that if the last roster spot battle between Bitsum and Taylor Horton-Tucker is between those two guys, then we know that Taylor Horton-Tucker has the clear advantage. Horton-Tucker went out there and did one hell of a job playing with some of the main guys. Like, he played with some of the stars, he played with some of the main bench guys. Horton-Tucker did a fantastic job all preseason, and now he is probably going to be looking at making the roster this year. And we'll see if, how much of a kind of role he's going to have. Breaking news? No breaking news. I'm just talking about that the Bulls in the front office, there's Billy Donovan in the front office, are going to be talking tonight, and it seems like they're going to probably be talking about cuts, right? Who unfortunately is going to get cut. And if the last roster spot ballot was between Bitsum and Horton-Tucker, it's very clear that Taylor Horton-Tucker has the advantage. Now, I have said though that my big prediction is Torrey Craig is going to get waived. I think that is a legit possibility still. We did see Craig go out there and play a lot of minutes tonight. Didn't do anything spectacular out there, but if the Bulls are truly about development and like they're all about developing Phillips and Buzelis, then Craig just has nowhere to be on this team. And with him being 34, I think he would probably rather go out and try to play for a contender and try to contribute there rather than playing for this Bulls team. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So I personally think that this would be the correct decision, would be to go ahead and waive Craig. And then you can keep both Bitsum and Horton-Tucker. Right now, man, it just seems like they're just going to probably just waive Bitsum and keep Horton-Tucker. Then maybe they sign Bitsum to the last two-way contract, but then that means Kenny Lofton and EJ Liddell do not get the last two-way contract, and they will be waived. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. I know a lot of people like EJ Liddell. I also do like EJ Liddell. I was a fan of him, especially for the Bulls to draft him. But I personally think that he has not shown me really anything for the last roster spot, obviously, but he also hasn't really shown me anything for the last two-way contract spot. I would much rather have Bitsum get the last two-way contract spot if they decide to waive Bitsum and keep Horton-Tucker on the main roster, and then Bitsum can go to the G League and play the two-way contract if he's willing. Again, it all matters if everyone's willing to do so. But when it comes to EJ Liddell, I do not think if, let's say he does get waived, which I expect him to get waived, I do not think this is the last we see of EJ Liddell for the Bulls. If you're not aware, for guys to go to the G League, for guys to play for the Windy City Bulls, we see a lot of this happening where the Bulls sign him to an Exhibit 10 deal and then just waive him immediately. So the Bulls did that with Josh Primo. The Bulls did that with Javon Freeman Liberty. So if you're not aware, Javon Freeman Liberty's back. I know that a lot of people wanted Javon Freeman Liberty to get the last two-way contract spot last year, which I did too, but then he got snagged up by the Raptors. But Freeman Liberty is back, and so the Bulls signed him to an Exhibit 10 deal, which is a training camp deal, but then waived him immediately. So EJ Liddell is also on a Exhibit 10 deal. Excuse me. So the Bulls can waive EJ Liddell, and he'll probably go play for the Windy City Bulls, assuming that he likes to play for the organization. And so who knows? We'll be able to keep track of him easier there if he does go play for the Windy City Bulls at the end of the day. So I personally think that this is not the end of it for EJ Liddell and the Bulls, but we'll see. Liddell is sort of like, we're trying to see how he recovers from everything because he's had his injury shares. So we'll see about that. Kenny Lofton is, I like Kenny Lofton, I really do. I just think that what's probably going to happen with Kenny Lofton, he's going to probably get waived. And then I think some team is going to pick him up for the main roster. I think that he has shown that he's good enough to probably kind of be like a third stringer center. But I don't really know who that team is, but I'm sure that he'll gladly go and take that spot. So I expect that Lofton will get waived, and then I don't know if the Bulls are going to be able to keep him for the G League roster. Yeah. Fred Carter are definitely question marks minutes-wise. Yeah, I think that both of them are question marks, but I just still think that because of Carter's contract, I don't understand why the Bulls would waive him. So to me, it's Craig. Liddell or Bitsum for me now. I'm not giving up on Bitsum quite yet. I want people to remember that he had that eye surgery. Bitsum did. If you're not aware, Bitsum had to have like a retina reattach or something like that. So I'm not really that concerned when it comes to Bitsum. I think that there is still a pretty decent player in him somewhere, but I just would personally think it's better in the G League right now. So if he's willing to go take another two-way contract, then great. If not, then, so be it. I think, unfortunately, then it is time just to go ahead and part ways, because he is 25. Yeah. I would say Lofton Flyer over them, too. I mean, I don't blame you. But, I mean, Horton Tucker's obviously making the roster, so if, let's say we just only wait Bitsum, then I don't see a way that Horton Tucker that Lofton makes the roster. And the reason why I don't think Kenny Lofton's going to be willing to take a two-way contract spot is because of Adama Sanogo. Kenny Lofton was the MVP of the G League one year. So if you're Lofton, right, like you're not going to be willing to play behind Adama Sanogo. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm a little bit like, Lofton's going to probably want to go somewhere else unless he's getting an NBA contract from the Bulls, which I don't see that happening. So on the way it would have to work, in my opinion, is if for Lofton to get an NBA contract or a two-way contract for the Bulls where he's happy, is you'd have to wait both Bitsum and Craig. You then sign Taylor Horton Tucker to one of the spots, and then you would either sign Kenny Lofton to the other spot, or you bring Adama Sanogo up. So you take Adama Sanogo's two-way contract spot away, and you sign him to an NBA contract, and then you sign Kenny Lofton to the two-way. That's the reason why I just think that overall it's like, I think Lofton's just gonna probably say like, I'm gonna go somewhere else. But if everyone's willing, and like, the stuff that I'm talking about, like everyone has to be willing, but that's like the only way I kind of see it working out, is like you have to waive both Craig and Bitsum, you sign Taylor Horton Tucker, and then you bring Sanogo back, you bring Sanogo up. So you get rid of his two-way, and then you sign Lofton to the remaining two-way. Liddell had injury, didn't know. Yeah. At the moment, it almost feels like the third center is either Giddey or Williams from preseason testers. To me, the third center is Patrick Williams at the moment, but it's also then Buzelis. Is kind of like a mix in there. But you're right. Like, we don't really have much after Vucevic and Smith. Yeah. No go time, small ball, P. Will, Montes. Like, if there has been a third center, it has been Sonogo, but we know he's on a two-way. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what the Bulls do. Lofton can play. There's data on him. I agree. Yeah. Pass is nice. I do think Lofton is a really good passer. Yeah. Lofton is undersized, but I think he does everything really effectively. So, yeah, we'll see, man. I do wonder. So maybe there is a world where we can keep everybody. Like, the only world, in my opinion, where we keep everybody and make everyone happy. So the way I see it working is, so again, this is just all hypothetical stuff. So Craig gets waived, Bitsum gets waived. Bitsum is then willing to go to the G League. Like, we don't even have to sign him to a two-way contract. He's just willing to go to the G League, and then play for the Windy City Bulls. Which again, he just got waived by the Bulls, so you're allowed to do that. So then you don't have to worry about the second two-way contract spot with Bitsum. You then sign Taylor Horton-Tucker, and then, sign one of Sonogo or Lofton Jr. to the last roster spot. Then the other gets the two-way contract. And then you just kind of roll with that, That's kind of the way you keep everybody. But I don't know if that's possible. Agree Bitsum two-way, yeah. So, because I like Bitsum shooting and athleticism as well, but THT and Lofton are dope and have now more size. I actually think Bitsum might be taller than all of them, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's just that one plays wing. Let's see. Is this not available? I have to actually go to Basketball Reference instead of. No, but he's 6'6". Never mind. I thought he was a little bit taller. Let's see. So Lofton is just barely taller than Bitsum. I think Horton-Tucker is actually shorter. Yeah, Horton-Tucker is 6'4". So you're actually losing size if you sign Horton-Tucker over Bitsum. But I think Horton-Tucker is just showing he's played better. So. Good to have tough decisions. I mean, it is sort of good. It's always, the saying is it's a good problem to have, right? It is kind of good, but at the same time, it is also a little, it's kind of hard because you don't want to make the wrong decision and suddenly you're hating yourself, Bidham needs time for Redden to get reps. I do think Bidham just kind of looks a little off in terms of timing. And I think he'll look a lot better in a month because again, he hasn't done a lot. He had to have that surgery, and you could obviously, if you have a messed up retina, you're not exactly doing a lot. Yeah. Well, his defensive upside for how he jumps and blocks from a chase feels like it would be wasted center minutes over power forward. I don't know. Risk confusing his growth defensively early on to me. Charles, I've said that I think that Buzelis's shot blocking ability is his best ability. I agree that it's right now for him playing center is a risk. I agree with that. But I'm just saying that we have seen a little bit of it. We saw him play some center against the Cavs. He was guarding Jared Allen. So I'm just saying that Billy might just think okay, he might be the fourth string center or whatever if necessary. Lofton way more NBA minutes than Sonogo, and Bitsum to THT is the other spot. That might also be what the Bulls are thinking, where it's if they actually are thinking of waiving Craig and waiving Bitsum, and so you sign THT, and instead of bringing up Sonogo, you just keep Sonogo in the G League. It is because Lofton has more NBA experience for sure. Yeah. Not saying Lofton is anything like Zion level, but if Pels put Zion there, we get to see what the undersize of a thick build can be like there. I actually think what the Pels are gonna do is they're putting Herb Jones at center, but you're right, and Zion is the inside player in a sense. I just think unfortunately it's so hard to compare because Zion is a freak of nature, I don't think it's normal for undersized big dudes to have that sort of athleticism, Zion can just jump out of a roof or out of the ceiling and he is so quick, but yet he's big. So it's hard. It's kind of hard to really be like, yeah, we get to kind of see like how the undersized forward works at the at the center spot. It's a little different. It's a little hard when that dude's a superstar that we're comparing him to. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Rob. I agree. Yeah, who knows, man? We're gonna have to see it. The only thing that I tell people though is like, if you're wondering about all these decisions, well, when we look at the playing time for preseason, right? Kalen Horton-Tucker has had the most playing time, and then Liddell and Lofton have not played much at all, right? They have not played much. The most they played was in the first preseason game, and then we saw against the Bucks, right, where everyone was out. So I just kind of like question, you know, like if we're saying like, oh, we think Lofton's gonna make it, like I think if I had to choose between who's gonna make it between Lofton and Sanogo, it'd be Sanogo just due to playing time. But who knows? Who knows how much maybe Lofton has had more reps in scrimmages or something with some of the main players. So yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. Just a rare build to try to imagine for Lofton's projection. You're right. Like you're right that there's like no other projection for Lofton because he is kind of weird, but he also moves pretty well for his size. You're right. Yeah, it is just a little hard to kind of think about it. It's just I just don't want to start thinking like, oh, it's like we're good, just because Zion's doing it well. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. But Lofton can maybe take some things from Zion and kind of work with it. But I think collectively as a team, there's a lot of work to do to kind of make that work. At least consistently, I should say. I think that like there's always times you can use a lineup for different spurts and it's gonna throw off a team. But for consistency's sake, it's not easy. If that makes any sense. Give me 1 second. Sorry, gotta blow my nose. All right, so that is just something just to keep in mind for heading into tomorrow, and then obviously for the rest of training camp or rest of preseason basketball. On Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, expect a lot of movement. Okay. Maybe the Bulls wait until Saturday, but maybe they wait until only tomorrow to make some of the changes. So just no matter what, people are getting waived. It's unfortunate. It's sad to see because I think, you know, as a young rebuilding roster, it kind of making the decisions on the young guys is important. So this isn't just like, oh, we're contending. It doesn't really matter who's like the 15th guy. I think it does matter. I think it does actually matter who does stay and who isn't going to stay. So hopefully the front office chooses right. We'll see who's obviously going to be willing to kind of stay on different situations. So yeah, we'll see what kind of happens out of it. Random question, but noticing Vooch is sitting at the top of the arc so often, why do the Bulls do this? So the Bulls are doing this more often with Vooch. Like I guess slightly more often. They've done this before with Vooch before. But the reason why is that he is the center, and so what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the big man, like the shot blocker, to have to guard the pick and rolls and like guard guys in the perimeter, and instead of just having Vooch kind of just stick in the corner where it is the shortest distance between for a defender to cover from the paint to the three ball, or stick baseline, right? You're making sure that the center is constantly having to like be in the action. So you're basically putting the rim protector in a different, like in spots, right? It's very similar to what other teams do to Vooch, right? Other teams just pick on Vooch by making sure that their center's at the top of the key, especially if they can shoot threes, and they just have them involved in the action to force the center to have to guard, right? And so yes, like there's obviously like the Victor Wembanyama's of the world where it's not going to be as effective. But the biggest thing of just doing that is that you're making sure that the center has to consistently move on the opposing team so that they're not always just like sitting in the paint to be able to block shots. You're also then making sure that Vooch is not being posted up as much, which I've said consistently, posting up Vooch is a terrible thing to do. It also, because that just puts Gobert, for example, in a great position just to block shots. So yeah, it's a little weird to kind of see it, but I think it is the right decision at the end of the day, because you're making Vooch move more, which he needs to do. Sorry, I hate to do this on stream. I'm so sorry. I know it's disgusting, but yeah, sorry. I unfortunately have to do it. Let's see here. Sorry. Would rather get it at the elbow to kick passes and shift the outside set. So the problem though is that I can understand your thinking, Charles, but Vooch would have to be a good shooter, right? So the problem right now is that Vooch is not a good shooter. He's not a good shooter from the 3-point line. So teams would, if you put Vooch out on, like, let's say in the corner, and you have Giddey kind of be like at the elbow area or like a free throw line area to try to kind of pinch post action, right? The problem is then the floor would shrink drastically, because then you have the shot blocker in position to come over and help at any point, and then you have Giddey who's in the middle of the floor not being a threat, right? So instead of doing that, you want to make sure that Vooch is more out on the perimeter to take the shot blocker out of the paint, and have to make sure that, you know, you guard the 3-point line from a Zach LaVine 3-point shot, or make sure that no one is gonna come off a down screen and get an open look. Instead of just putting Vooch down in the corner, and having him come over and help, and have his defender come over and help, because at the end of the day, defenses are going to be very willing to come off of Vooch to you know, come off Vooch and just let him shoot the 3 ball. Giddey also has a bad shooter in the corner though, but remember though, the center's moving, right? The difference, the whole difference in this situation is the fact that Giddey's not guarded by the center, right? So if Giddey's guarded by the center and the center's just not gonna, like, just gonna leave him out there, that's one thing, right? Because then, yeah, we would not want Josh Giddey just stuck in the corner. But because Josh Giddey's not being guarded by the center, right, you're allowed to kind of throw him in the corner just a little bit. And because if that player comes over and helps, they're not gonna be that as effective, because they're not a Rudy Gobert, right? But what defenses have done though in the postseason, which is the reason why Giddey gets played off the floor, is that they put Rudy Gobert on Josh Giddey, right? That's the reason why it's like you can't just have Giddey out there and standing in the corner in the playoffs, is because they take their center and put him on Josh Giddey. Hence then the center's just like, yeah, I'm willing to help off Josh Giddey every time. And then I just come on over and just dare him to shoot the 3 ball. So you're seeing why Josh Giddey gets played off the floor, right? So yeah, like it is kind of like, I know it's a little bit harder, just like, I don't have like the video showing up, and I don't want to bring up any more film, because I don't want to get copyrighted, because my last stream got copyrighted. But it's always just important to remember like who the center is guarding, because it's, well, yes, like there are some players out there that aren't exactly 3-point shooters. Are they being guarded by the center? A lot of times why you see changes in the defense in the postseason is because they'll take their center and put him on a guy that they're like, yeah, we're just going to let him shoot the 3. Because then they're always willing to come over and help. Vooch is being used in this action because he is the center, and he has to make sure that the center is in the action and take him out of the paint. Vooch is not a good shooter, but the best way to create the spacing with Vooch is to just have him move. So yeah. What's the variance of 3-point shoot across the league from year to year, player to player? Generally, is there a chance Vooch could somehow shoot 35% or over? I mean, I want to hope that he's gonna be that good, but my only issue with Vooch is just that I know he's declining, right? It's not like he's getting any younger. He's gonna soon be 34, so to me, it's like, sure, we can look at sort of different variances of like shooting percentages throughout the years, but to me, it's like, why would I have faith that he's gonna get better? Do I think he's gonna shoot under 30% this year? No, but I don't think he's gonna shoot, you know, better than 35%. I think he's gonna probably stick around in the low 30s, honestly. because I don't trust him, you know. He's just getting older, unfortunately. And also keep in mind, team's gonna be pretty willing to kind of let him shoot initially this year, and if he doesn't show up or prove him wrong, or make him actually have to come out to him, then I just think it's just gonna continue. You would think getting older you keep your shot. You would think that, but it's just that everything's all connected, right? And unfortunately for a center, I don't know how it really works out with them. Because you're right, you would think, for example, someone like Vince Carter, right? Like Vince Carter got older and just became a better shooter. But yeah, I don't know, man. I guess for centers it's really awkward. But with Vooch specifically, I think the bigger issue with Vooch has been his good 3-point shooting years were more of an anomaly than the actual consistent year, right? His 3-point shooting years were the outlier, not the norm. This year where he shot 40% from 3, and then the following year he shot so he shot 40% from 3 this year. This one year we got traded to the Bulls. That's the outlier. That's not normal. So why should we be he's gonna return to form when his form is honestly more so what he shot his first year when he started shooting threes, which was 31%, and then 36% was okay, but he shot less threes. You're right with the 32%. I think that's probably where it's gonna probably land. It's just not good enough, you know. One thing helps Vooch shoot at the moment, he doesn't look like he hesitates or cares as much as it goes in, and that can help sometimes. Maybe it can help. If everyone's just everyone launch it and he's part of that, I hope, man. I really hope that would help him, but I don't have faith, unfortunately. Centers get physically beaten down faster. You're right that centers take more of a beating. I still think smaller guards to get beaten down faster than centers, but you are right that the centers take most of the beating. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, and he's had fakes and moves, but sometimes his touch off glass is off on spins. His moves are very off now. I actually think when this is when the COVID stuff was happening, when Vooch tried to post up PJ Tucker against Miami, and he had PJ Tucker right under the basket and he missed the hook. I think that was kind of the saying oh, he's losing it, you know. It sucks, but when he missed that shot, I don't know if you guys remember that. That was just one that stuck out to my mind because I remember that moment very vividly. But that was a moment where it's PJ Tucker's 6'5", and he's right under the basket and you can't finish over him. That was the moment where I'm oh, you might be losing. So yeah, it sucks. At the end of the day, though, when you do look at Vooch, it's a weird thing because he has some nice stats, but I've always said it, double machine I don't care. There's a very big difference between what Vucevic does as a double machine versus what Domantas Sabonis does as a double machine. The reason why I always bring this up is because Stacey King say, oh, double machine, Vooch is so good. Go look at Devon. Just very quickly bring up Domantas Sabonis' stats, okay? Who I think this is what people think Vucevic is, and he's just, he's not Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis averages sort of similar numbers, 19 points per game, 14 rebounds, which is more rebounds than Vooch, but Vooch averages 18 and 10. Okay, they both Sabonis shoots even less than Vooch in terms of field goal attempts per game. But you just look at the shooting percentages, right? Vooch is shooting about 48%. He had that year 52%, but the field goal percentage is between 48 and 50. Sabonis as a center is shooting consistently over 55%. No matter what, he is shooting into the 60s, right? This is why it's a major difference. Sabonis doesn't shoot threes very often. He does sometimes, but him not shooting threes, him shooting less attempts, okay, and him just getting to the free throw line more, and he's not that great of a free throw shooter, that itself is so much more efficient than what Nikola Vucevic does in the basketball court, right? That itself is the major difference. And so with Vooch, the big equalizer was the 3-point shot. If like you can go out there and shoot 40% from 3, then I don't really care about your field goal percentage overall. But because he hasn't done that, it all goes away. Now it's like, well, I need you to go inside and shoot consistently, but you're not that great in there anyway. So it's just this weird balance when it comes to Vooch. So yeah, it sucks. I was when the Bulls traded for Vooch, again, I was on board when they first traded for him, and I was really hoping that we're gonna get this Vooch here. Like this if this was the Vooch we were getting of like maybe not 24.5 points per game, but the dude's shooting 40% from 3-point range, then like yeah, like, I'm all for this. Like this is gonna work out hopefully well, but that's not the case, obviously. Better a lot of missed bunnies from Vooch from the Derek White block on him. Yep. We'll celebrate the positive at the end. The ball block looks nice at the moment, and pace pushing. Yeah, you're right. Ball looked great. Yeah, no vertical, and he can get blocked by any player that can jump. Unfortunately, if there's just an okay center on Vucevic right now in the post, like there's no chance. Like Vooch, I'm gonna guess the Vooch misses. You know, he won't get his shot blocked, but you know. Giddy actually hit more threes than I thought he would. Gang. Oh, really? I'm not happy with Giddy's 3-point shooting. I know he's hit some, but he's got to hit more than what he's hit so far. Yo, Vooch, I need you to start being more of a threat from 3. Man, I've been waiting for it, man. Ever since he's gone to the Bulls, like he has to be more of a threat, and he just hasn't been that. So, all right. That being said, though, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna preview the next game for the Bulls. So, want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I know it's another late night stream, and I just want to, you guys have just been awesome. I truly do appreciate the support. If you have not already, please hit the like button on the stream. Helps me out a ton. You guys, I mean, we've had, I know it's like we have only 11 viewers at the moment, but we've had a total of 146 different viewers come into the chat tonight. So thank you guys a lot. This means a ton to me. And we did another over 3-hour stream, so I'm happy with myself. So looking ahead right now, so the Bulls are going to face the Cavs on Friday. So it's another pretty kind of quick turnaround for the Bulls and in a preseason game. So we're going to play again on Friday. I'm interested to see what the Bulls do, because there's some talk that maybe the Bulls just rest everybody and like they're going to really kind of let the young guys just kind of take it, and so they won't waive anybody before the game starts, or before the game starts, and then they'll make the decisions on Saturday who's going to make the roster. But in my opinion, the best thing to do in the last game before the season starts is just to go out as if it's a regular game. In my opinion, because the Bulls have not done that yet in the preseason, where we actually saw the main guys go out and finish a game. I think the best thing would just to be go out and just act as if it's a normal game. Run your normal rotation. Ideally, you know, everyone's healthy, so hopefully Io's back. Hopefully Julian Phillips is back. I'm more concerned about Phillips at the moment. I don't know if he's going to be able to come back for the preseason at least. And then hopefully Buzelis is available, right? And I would personally, if I was Billy Donovan, I'm running this team as if it's the regular season. So that's the reason why I think it's probably the best decision just to do that. And make sure that all the people that we're kind of questioning in terms of being in game shape, like Giddey, Lonzo to an extent, but also some of the guys that have had to miss games due to injury in the preseason like Kobe, Io, P-Will, and others, and Joe and Smith, I would just like for them just to get some normal minutes. So get them out there and just have them run normal minutes and see how it goes. We'll see what the Cavs do, though, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Cavs just rest a lot of guys at the end of the day. Also, though, just to keep in mind, the reason why I think this is okay is because if you look at the schedule, the Bulls play on the 18th, but their first regular season game is on the 23rd. So it's not like we have like a quick turnaround. Bulls will be in New Orleans for the start of the regular season, but that's the reason why I'm just like, go on, just play as if it's like a normal game, because the Bulls will have like 4 days rest in between, and they'll be fine. So I think that's overall worth it. So let's see how the Bulls go out and play against the Cavs and just see what Diamond decides to do with the rotation. But then also just see how Ball does. How does Ball react? How does he feel out there? And then hopefully the rest of the guys are going to be available and healthy so that we can see Lonzo Ball play next to guys like Io, Phillips, Buzelis, etc. And get a little bit more of a mix and match and who's gonna be playing with who come the start of the regular season. Let's see here. Yeah, Rob, like I said, yeah. I would hope that the Stars are playing because they don't have to play for a while until the start of the year. I gotta get the team out as if it was for a run, yeah. Make sure everyone is game shape. I'm so curious to who is benched and how Ball ends up fitting in with fun rotation. So I do have my prediction already of what the rotation is going to look like. Just kind of what Donovan's kind of done so far in preseason, but just kind of quick overview. So we know that the starting lineup is Giddey, Kobe, Levine, P. Will, and Vucevic, right? But right now, what it seems like Io and Julian Phillips are the two main guys off the bench to start the year. They'll be the first two guys off the bench. Io is going to come in for Kobe, and then Phillips is going to come in for P. Will. So those are the first two guys coming off the bench. Then the big question is, I don't know what happens after that. That's kind of where I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen after this. In my head, from what I saw tonight, it seems like then what would happen is Giddey would come out and then Lonzo would come in. So then there's 8, right? Those are 8 guys played. And then at some point you're gonna see what's gonna happen is Kobe and Zach would then trade spots. So Kobe's obviously benched right now. As you get later into the game, later into the first quarter, Kobe comes back in to finish the first quarter and replaces Zach. And then at that point, Jalen Smith is going to come in for Vooch. So then at that point, you've played 9. Okay. So then the other person that I've been saying that should get minutes is Buzelis. Unfortunately, what I'm just kind of looking at right now, it's like Buzelis might be kind of getting the minutes that Lonzo would get when Lonzo doesn't play. So, knowing that Lonzo isn't going to be part of the back-to-backs, then Buzelis is going to really get those minutes because you can just slide, everyone up one spot where, Phillips comes in early, right? Lonzo wouldn't come in for Giddey, but then, everyone just kind of moves up one if it's without Lonzo, and you just put, everyone up one up. So it would just be pretty simple just to kind of slide in Buzelis there. But I really want Buzelis to try to and the Bulls to try to find a way to get Buzelis consistent minutes no matter who's playing. And I don't know who has to sacrifice, honestly. To me, it would be Vooch ideally, but then it's kind of hard because it's like then you're saying that Buzelis might get some center minutes, which I don't want to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know who would have to sacrifice because I think right now at the moment, Giddey, Levine, and Kobe all have to get their minutes, and Io, it seems like no matter what's going to get his minutes because he's played so well. So yeah, figure it out. Maybe Josh Giddey gets some of his minutes cut. Maybe everyone just kind of gets docked an extra 2 minutes off their normal time. So yeah, I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to just kind of watch who's going to actually go out there and be in the rotation. But so far, though, at least I kind of know at least the start of the rotation where I do think Io and Phillips are going to be the first two off the bench for Patrick Williams and Kobe White. And then we'll see what happens after that. After that, it could be anything, honestly. And I'm hoping that the last preseason game gives me a better understanding of it because I am always curious about it. Yeah. When you saw about Vooch and how early? Oh, I didn't. I just answered that. Yeah, the issue with the Vooch, so the way that the Donovan's kind of worked with the rotation so far when Jalen Smith was available, it's like Vooch plays about 7-8 so far, and then Smith is gonna come in. But that also hasn't been consistent. So in my head, at least, if I was personally running the roster, I want Jalen Smith out there as much as possible. So instead of Vooch playing 30 plus 36 minutes or whatever, or 34 minutes, I would rather him play 28 or 28 to 30, and then they have Smith fill the rest. Ideally, in a perfect world in my head, it would be 24-24 for the center minutes, but I just know that's not going to happen because Vooch would be very pissed. So I think that that's probably more realistic, where it's like 28 to 30, and you have, Jalen Smith at least guaranteed 18 minutes a night. And you just kind of have to figure it out after that. Yeah. Whereby I would be willing to put Giddey in some center minutes and be to go power forward, shifting the rest around. Weird, but I almost see it being okay. I keep Gonzalez in power forward. It's interesting for sure. I think if you're wondering about the offensive end, I don't really have much concerns about that. I just have more concerns about it defensively, because Giddey, I think, would just get wrecked. I know he's 6'8", but I don't have any faith in him to be guarding in any sort of pick and roll situation to be the center. So that's my only concern about it, really. Overall, the minutes played will change game to game and over the whole season. Eventually, it'll average out. It'll average close to whatever it does. Yeah, you're right. It will average out. It's just, it's such a weird thing to kind of look at the start of the year. So, by the way, though, just a reminder that we're saying, like, no Javon Carter, assuming no Javon Carter and no Torrey Craig. So, I'm hoping that those guys don't play. Like, as much as I'm not trying to be mean to those guys, but ideally those guys aren't playing. But if they are suddenly in the rotation, then I don't know what the hell Billy Donovan's going to do, because then it's too many guys. So, yeah, maybe honestly, what I could see happening is, like, they're gonna make sure, like, Zach isn't gonna get, like, overworked this year. So Zach might start the year with like 32 minutes a game instead of like 34, 36. Maybe even less than that, honestly. And they're just gonna really try to get guys in like those like 5-6 minute bursts, and just try to even it out. We'll see. Whoever better gets more minutes than I, if better. I would love that, and I honestly think Jalen Smith would be the one getting most of the minutes if that was the situation, but that's just not how it works. Yeah. So let's see who's going to be available for this game, and then obviously I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of do this really quickly because I do want to talk about it. But the Bulls are going to be going to play the Pelicans on Wednesday. So wait, this is Wednesday, right? If I'm not mistaken. Okay, I don't actually remember. Hold on. Let me just here. Wait, hold on. Hiding screen. Sorry. I want to quickly look. Wait, hold on. Actually, that doesn't work. What the heck? Hold on. October. Third day. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Okay. I was just want to make sure. Cool. So when it comes to the Bulls, they're going to be playing the Pelicans in New Orleans on Wednesday, October 23rd. That is the first game of the season. Just overall saying, like, it's going to be kind of weird because we are, as Bulls fans, we always want to win, or just as sports fans, we want to win. But this year, we're looking to kind of lose, right? If I had to just kind of go ahead and guess, because the Pelicans seem to be healthy, and I know the Brandon Ingram situation is kind of going on, but in my head, at least, just kind of how I see things, I see this Bulls team probably going off to a pretty bad start. New Orleans, Milwaukee, OKC, Memphis, and Orlando is ridiculous off the bat. I think the Bulls lose all 5. I wouldn't be shocked if they lose all 5. Now, somehow, some way, though, they're going to win a game. And I would not be shocked if it's somehow against Memphis, because Memphis is weird. But actually, it's at Memphis. Bulls never played well at Memphis. Maybe it's against Orlando. Maybe the Bulls win against Orlando, because that would be a thing. But I think the Bulls lose against New Orleans. They then for sure lose against Milwaukee and OKC. Memphis is a little more of a wild card, but Bulls have never played well in Memphis. And then maybe the Bulls win against Orlando. But it is just weird, though, that the Bulls are going to go from New Orleans to Milwaukee to Chicago to then Memphis to then back to Chicago. That is a ridiculous schedule. That sucks. I don't know why we just didn't go to Memphis while we're in New Orleans, But yeah, we'll see how this is going to go. Assuming that Zion and everyone's healthy for the New Orleans game, then we're probably going to lose that one. But more importantly, it's just about development. So we'll see how it goes for the guys and how well they play and develop together. So, yeah. Bulls lose all 5 for sure. If they win one, they are going to be a play-in team. I mean, that's the thing, though. If they win one, like, it's legit. Like, if they win one, it might be a fluke. like let's just say, for example, they somehow win against OKC, which I don't think is going to happen. But let's say that just somehow happens. I would hope that we're not jumping to like, oh my God, we're a playing team. But if they start getting those sort of wins consistently, then yeah, I will start saying like, yeah, okay, we're a playing team. And that's just not great. So I don't know what you got to do, trade Zach quickly or whatever. I don't know, figure it out. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Because still, in my opinion, like, yeah, we gotta figure out a way to lose enough. By the way, though, if we're wondering, like, when I do look at the Western Conference, I don't really see many bad teams. To me, I think 14 teams should be as good or better than the Bulls this year, in my opinion, in the Western Conference, assuming that everyone is, trying to actually play. But I mean, like, for example, Memphis should not be down here. Like, Memphis, there's no way Memphis is gonna be down here this year. The Rockets were already better than the Bulls last year, and they were the 11th seed. So already you're seeing like two teams already that are gonna be 11-12 that are gonna be better than the Bulls. Then I think the Spurs are just gonna be better. Like, I know it's gonna be a massive win jump that they have to go through, but they just should be better than last year. And so to me, it's gonna be Portland's gonna be the worst team in the Western Conference, and then it's gonna be up to Utah what they do. So that's the reason why when I say, like, if the Bulls find a way just to like be 12th in the Eastern Conference, I think they're fine. And so that's assuming then, like, Brooklyn's worst, Washington's worst, Detroit's worst. So those are your three teams, right? And then you got to find a way to be worse than Charlotte and then Toronto, which is, I think, the hard part. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all works out at the end. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Can't wait to see you guys on Friday for another game and see Lonzo Ball go ahead and go out there and just hopefully look good again. And hopefully, I'm going to hope all the stars are playing and everyone's just available on Wednesday. Thank you guys all so much for the likes tonight. And if you have not subscribed to the channel already and like Bulls content, go ahead to hit the subscribe button. Jesus, sorry. And want to say, if you have not already, then yeah, please just hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know my Twitter, because I have seen some people, I do know I have to post this a little bit more often, but Twitter is always in the bio. But here's my link to my Twitter account, and I always am tweeting out during the games. So appreciate you guys hanging with me tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and hopefully the VOD watchers also enjoy the stream and I don't get copyrighted. I'll see you all on Friday for the post game stream.